I'm in GT, my brother is Broly. Chapter 26 Capture Number 21, Bupa talks recovery plan. Who said surrender would not kill? Glancing at Bupa, Bupa dispersed Super Saiyan and turned into an indifferent expression. This king gave him a chance to choose. Since he chose to attack this king from the beginning, he is not qualified to become this king's subordinate. This is not Bupa arrogance. Although Super 13 is a super android, its potential is far worse than that of the Lazuli siblings. And just now, he also discovered that this Super 13 is a licking dog, and such an existence is completely unqualified for him to waste time. The main thing is that the evolution potential of Super 13 is too poor, and binding him can't bring much benefit to himself. Conversely, the Lazuli siblings are different. As long as she captures number 21 this time and obtains the super android technology from her, the Lazuli siblings' improvement will be at least calculated by 100 million. In this way, the tenfold return he got is enough for him to master billions, or even tens of billions of battle power in an instant. Seeing Bupa's indifferent expression, Bulma opened her mouth, but at the moment, her heart was more filled with fear. Terrible. Bupa is too domineering. This also means that the possibility of her wanting to escape from Bupa's control will be greatly reduced in the future. Even under such circumstances, she did not dare to escape at all. Otherwise, Bupa will not be sympathetic to Xiangxu. Not only will she die, but even the Saiyans on Earth will die. Da. At this time, a sound of footsteps came from the area behind him. Looking through the prestige, I can see Broly, the Lazuli siblings, and number 16 stepping forward. The 21st was being held by Broly at the moment, and the whole person was scarred and looked extremely embarrassed. Finally come. Seeing this situation, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately communicated with the system. System, check the information on number 21. The next second, the information on the 21st appeared in front of his eyes. The 21st. Race, Android. Combat Index, 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion combat power. It seems that the strength of number 21 without fusion Majin Buu cells is really not good. No wonder Broly got caught so quickly. Inwardly, a smile appeared on Bupa's face. If number 21 appeared after the Majin Buu incident, her power would be terrifying. But now it's different. Number 21, who has not absorbed Majin Buu cells, is still incomplete, and she also does not have Lazuli siblings and number 16's infinite energy furnace, which also leads to her own low strength. Big brother. At this time, the four Broly came to the area in front of Bupa. Throwing number 21 on the ground, Broly said, "This guy is number 21. I wanted to escape just now, but I'm not my opponent either. If you hadn't told me to keep her alive, I would have killed her just now. Here you go." Hearing this, Bupa laughed, stepped forward and patted Broly on the shoulder and said, "In this way, my goal of reaching Earth can be considered accomplished." As soon as these words came out, Lazuli and others looked at Bupa. The latter came to Earth for the purpose. This is what they are curious about. Master Bupa. Taking a step forward, Lapis asked curiously, "Dare to ask the purpose of your visit to Earth this time?" Not only him, but also Bulma and others looked at Bupa curiously. Simple. Without being rude, Bupa pointed to Bulma, number 16 and number 21. "My goal this time is the three of you. Of course, Lazuli and Lapis, your sister and brother, are also one of my goals, but your priority is not as high as the three of them." "What is it for Bulma, number 16 and number 21? Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings were stunned. Unexpectedly, Bupa values the three more than them, which is incredible. After looking at each other, Lazuli wondered, "Sir, why?" "We can understand these three, number 16 and number 21. After all, their strength is indeed much stronger than my sister and brother. But this earthling named Bulma, if I see it well, she doesn't even have any combat power on her body, so why can adults pay so much attention to her?" As soon as these words came out, Bulma and others also looked at Bupa curiously, especially on number 21 on the ground. She never imagined that the man in front of her was actually here for her. And from the information revealed in Bupa's words, it is not difficult to see that the latter did not intend to kill her. Mind, wisdom, and scientific research ability. Without being rude, Bupa said indifferently, "Except for the dead Dr. Gero, the three of you are the most scientific research ability and wisdom on Earth. Also, although Dr. Gero is dead, all his scientific research information is in number 16's mind, so he is not within my reach." After that, Bupa stopped explaining too much, looked at number 21 on the ground and said, "Number 21, my name is Bupa, is the new King Saiyan. Are you willing to surrender to me? What do you want me to do?" No refusal. Number 21 struggled to stand up, staring at Bupa and said, "You care about scientific research ability, and the goal is directly at me and number 16. Do you also want to create artificial humans?" "What? Create artificial humans?" Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings, number 16 and Bulma all looked at Bupa in horror, their eyes filled with resistance. Without him, they are well aware of the dangers of artificial humans. It becomes clearer how cruel it is to create an android. If Bupa caught them to make androids, then yes and no. Glancing at Bulma and the others, Bupa pondered slightly, The Saiyan family was destroyed by Frieza back then. Now there are only a handful of Saiyans in the universe, apart from the Kakarot father and son and the Vegeta father and son on Earth. There are only me and Broly, and 12 subordinates who have surrendered to me. As the new Saiyan king, my goal is to revive the Saiyan family. But just natural reproduction is too slow to accomplish my goals. So I need you to help me make artificial Saiyan, and grow artificial Saiyan from Saiyan's cells and eggs. I can't do this, Broly can't do it. Only the three of you with extraordinary intelligence can. I see. Restore the Saiyan clan? After listening to Bupa's remarks, Bulma, number 16 and Lazuli's expressions softened a lot in an instant. Although this is also one of the scopes of artificial humans, it is not created by sacrificing human beings and lives. As long as they have enough sperm and eggs, they can quickly create a large number of Saiyan children under the cultivation of their technology. Chapter 27 Conquering number 21 and promoting the Lazuli siblings. I understand. After about a quarter of an hour, number 21 looked up at Bupa and said, "You want to use our ability to help you revive the Saiyan race. But why should I surrender to you?" As soon as these words came out, Bulma, Lazuli and others all looked at Bupa in a complicated way. They can all see that the 21st is not very happy to be controlled, including that they are not people who like to be controlled. "Don't surrender to death." Glancing at number 21, Bupa said indifferently, "One more of you is not much. One less of you is not more. Since you are already an artificial human, it is not impossible to catch you and transfer all your memories into the body of number 16. As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. Broly, who was about to scold number 21, also shut up. Compared with his anger, Bupa's understatement was the most deadly at this moment. Gudu. After swallowing, number 21 looked at Bupa with a hint of fear. She didn't expect Bupa to be so domineering. If she didn't agree, she would kill herself, and she just swore that she was absolutely necessary. But number 21 is very clear that what Bupa said is true. She has become an artificial human, and all her memories at this moment have been digitized. Under such circumstances, as long as Bupa does something to her, her memory will also be taken away by number 16. The main thing is that number 21 does not want to die, and does not want to die in this place. "I surrender." Without the slightest hesitation, number 21 slumped on the ground. Even though she was quite unwilling, she also understood that in the case of her own lack of strength, she could only obey the fate arranged by Bupa. Ding. Check number 21's allegiance to see if the host is bound. At this time, the system prompt sounded. Bind. The corners of his mouth rose, and Bupa chose to bind number 21 without hesitation. The next second, the information on the 21st appeared in front of him again. The 21st. Race, Android. Combat Index, 1.2 billion. Loyalty, 70. Loyalty. It seems that she is not very convinced. Seeing the whole scene, Bupa didn't really care. The value of number 21 is only to help him complete the artificial Saiyan, and if the latter dares to betray, it is not a problem to obliterate it. Thinking of this, Bupa nodded at number 21 and said, "Very good. In that case, you can do your first thing now." Lapis took the things out. "Yes, Lord Bupa." With a promise, Lapis did not dare to neglect, and hurriedly took out the cells collected earlier. The activity in it still exists, but it itself cannot be bred into a cell. This is the moment he saw the cell. Number 21 stood up directly from the ground and said with a horrified expression, "That guy Jiro actually completed this step. Damn old guy, stealing my technology has reached such a point. If it weren't for the fact that I was frozen for so many years, I would definitely surpass him." Having said this, number 21's eyes are full of unwillingness and anger. Enough. However, Bupa didn't intend to listen to her nagging. He waved his hand and said, "Since you have recognized this thing, it means that you already know how to use it. I need you now to integrate it into the Lazuli siblings and help them become super cyborgs." As soon as these words came out, the Lazuli siblings immediately looked at number 21, their eyes filled with anticipation. Super android. It's definitely what they're looking forward to. After all, the previous super number 13 and number 21 were both super androids, and their strength was far from what their siblings could match. "I see." Nodding, number 21 gave Bupa a complicated look, and then said, "After I injected Lazuli sisters and brothers, I need to leave a part for myself to improve." Raising his brows, Bupa said unexpectedly, "You can also perform fusion?" "Certainly." Raising his head proudly, number 21 proudly said, "The cell cultivation technology was created by me, and Gronazi is just a stealer. This cell is also a good nutrient for me." Saying that, number 21 licked his lips with a longing expression. "It is good." Bupa didn't care about this. He waved his hand and said, "If that's the case, then go ahead and prepare. Broly, follow along and watch. If number 21 dares to run away, then kill her." "Yes, sir." Hearing this, Broly nodded heavily. His sense of number 21 is also not very good. This guy is obviously not convinced. If he is not strictly guarded, there will definitely be problems. I will go too." At this time, Boomer on the side raised his hand and said curiously, "I also want to see the means of this artificial man. After all, you still need us to help you cultivate artificial Saiyan, How about I learn it first? Bulma knew that he would not be able to leave for a short time. There is almost no possibility of escaping from Bupa's control, and now he can only choose to follow his heart and engage in research. The most important thing is that on the 21st, the Lazuli brothers and sisters were transformed into artificial humans with human bodies. If she also learns this technique, she might be able to make herself stronger. After going through so many things, Bulma also deeply realized the importance of being strong. However, she has no talent for cultivation, and will not practice as hard as Son Goku and Vegeta. The only hope now is the artificial human technology. As long as she is properly controlled, she can also make herself stronger and find a chance to escape from Bupa's control. No problem. Like leaving Bulma, Bupa didn't know what she was thinking, so he waved his hand and said, "You can go too. You will follow along on the 16th. It just so happens that you scientists have a good discussion about the artificial Saiyan." Yes, with a promise, both Bulma and number 16 nodded. Immediately afterwards, a group of people no longer hesitated, and directly walked towards the laboratory not far away under the leadership of number 21. At the moment, Bupa raised his mouth slightly, looked at number 21 and others who were leaving, and murmured, "Work hard to become stronger. Only if you become stronger, can I be stronger." After that, Bupa didn't hesitate, turned around and found an area to start exercising. Skyline. Call out. The sound of breaking through the air resounded, and Son Goku and his son hurried to the area of the heaven. Chapter 28 Piccolo Celestial Fusion, Vegeta and Son exit. Old grandson, Gohan. As Son Goku and his son arrived, Piccolo walked out of a house not far away. It can be seen that Piccolo's breath is strong at this moment, and the power fluctuations exuding from his body have reached about 500 million. Impressively, Piccolo has now completed the fusion with God. Piccolo uncle. Seeing Piccolo appear, Son Goku and Son Gohan flew up immediately. After feeling the strong aura on Piccolo's body, Son Goku's eyes showed a hint of surprise. "Piccolo, how did you become so strong all of a sudden? I feel like I'm no match for you even if I transform into Super Saiyan." As soon as these words came out, Son Gohan also looked at Piccolo curiously. After all, the breath he exudes at this moment is too strong, and they can't bear their curiosity. "I fused with the gods." In the face of the inquiry, Piccolo did not hide it, and said with a complicated expression, "Angel told me that my strength and his strength are not enough to fight the android crisis, and the two Saiyans who broke into the earth are extremely terrifying. Only after fusion can they fight." I see. After hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan couldn't help but suddenly realize the gods and Piccolo were originally one, and it is reasonable to have such a powerful force after completing fusion. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately said, "By the way, Piccolo, do you know the whereabouts of Bulma and those two Saiyans?" "No." Nodding his head, Piccolo said solemnly, "They are in an island in the east of the earth." Before I felt that there were two extremely terrifying breaths, but one of them was dead. If nothing else, the two Saiyans should have done it, and their purpose is almost complete. Hearing this, Son Goku's expression changed suddenly. If the Bupa duo's purpose is fulfilled, it will certainly not stay on Earth for long. In this case, Nebma will be taken away by them, and it will be difficult for the vast universe to find them. Click. At this moment, a sound of opening the door came. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that two figures strode out of the time house. Impressively, it was Vegeta and Trunks that came out. At this moment, the breath of the two also became extremely strong, especially Vegeta's whole person was high-spirited, and his eyes were full of confidence. Vegeta, Trunks. Seeing the two come out, Son Goku, Son Gohan and Piccolo hurried up to meet them. After arriving at the area in front of Vegeta and Trunks, Son Goku quickly asked, "Vegeta, how has your strength improved?" "Not bad." The corners of his mouth rose, and Vegeta said proudly, "I'm sure I will fight Broly." As soon as these words came out, Trunks on the side also nodded and said, "I am also sure to compete with Broly." As for those three androids, they are definitely not my opponents. Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan both smiled. Vegeta and Trunks have such self-confidence. It can be seen that they have improved a lot after practicing in the time house for 2 years. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately said, "So, then you wait here for me and Gohan for 2 days. When we enter it and cultivate out, we will go to rescue Bulma before we set off." After that, Son Goku looked at Piccolo and said, "Piccolo, then Gohan and I will go first." "Go." Waving his hand, Piccolo said solemnly, "I will pay attention to the situation of the two Saiyans. If they intend to leave early, then I will notify you to come out." "It is good." As soon as he agreed, Son Goku no longer hesitated, and walked quickly towards the time house with Son Gohan beside him. Soon, the door to the time house was closed, and the figures of Son Goku and Son Gohan disappeared. Piccolo. When Son Goku and his son entered the time house, Vegeta turned to look at Piccolo beside him and asked, "Tell me where the two Saiyans are." "Vegeta." Hearing this, Piccolo's pupils shrank, not knowing what Vegeta wanted to do. After the strength of his father and son increased, it was obvious that they wanted to rescue Bulma by themselves, and even defeat Bupa and Broly. Subconsciously, Piccolo said, Vegeta, although you and the Trunks are not weak, you shouldn't be able to help Bupa and Broly. And you are rushing to go now. If you are scared by the grass and let them escape from the earth, the consequences will be unimaginable. It's better to wait for 2 days. After 2 days, Lao's son and Gohan will come out. At that time, the 4 of you Super Saiyan will definitely have an absolute chance of winning. Stop talking nonsense. However, Vegeta was confident enough in his own strength at the moment, and immediately said, Piccolo, this Prince and Trunks are enough to defeat those 2 bastards to save Bulma. It's just a waste of time to wait now. I don't want any accident in Bulma's hands. Tell me where they are now, or don't blame my men for being ruthless. Saying that, Vegeta burst out of her own anger, with a look of determination and threat. All right. Seeing this, Piccolo sighed helplessly. He also knew that he couldn't persuade Vegeta under the current circumstances. After a little pondering, Piccolo then told Vegeta the coordinates of the island where Bupa and others were located. After Vegeta and Trunks got the coordinates, they immediately flew out of the heaven and went straight to where Bupa and the others were. Seeing this, Piccolo couldn't help sighing. What is this called? Originally, there was an absolute chance of winning in 2 days. But now only Vegeta and his son are going. Piccolo really doesn't know if there will be an absolute chance of winning. Immediately afterwards, Piccolo pondered a little, then flew to Kalinta and took some fairy bends to chase Vegeta and Trunks. He's not going to make a rash move, but if Vegeta and Trunks are unexpectedly lost, he'll fight to save them. After all, without Vegeta and Trunks, just Son Goku and Son Gohan wouldn't necessarily be able to beat Bupa and Broly. Call out, call out. The sound of breaking air resounded, and the silhouettes of Vegeta and Trunks soon arrived at the island where Bupa was in the laboratory. However, although the island was locked, Vegeta and Trunks did not know the location of the research room. After looking at each other, Vegeta and Trunks began a carpet-like search. Chapter 29. The Vegeta father and son who have increased their strength. Broly vs Vegeta. Drip, drip. At the same time, an alarm sounded in the research room. Immediately afterwards, Broly can be seen hurriedly walked out of the room, came to Bupa and said, Big brother, Vegeta and his son Trunks are here. Just checked the monitor on the island on the 21st. His father and son will find this place soon. Come yet? With a flash of light in his eyes, Bupa stopped cultivating and stood up. He moved his muscles and said, How are the Lazuli brothers and sisters? The injection has been completed. Not daring to be neglected, Broly immediately said, The bombs in the Lazuli siblings and number 16 have been taken out on the 21st. Now that the Lazuli siblings have killed the cell cells, according to the story on the 21st, it will take 2 to 3 days to fully fuse. Besides, number 21 also killed the cell and fell asleep to himself, and now number 16 is guarding them in the laboratory. 2 to 3 days. That's great. The eyes flashed brightly, and the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, with anticipation in his heart. As long as the Lazuli siblings and number 21 are absorbed, they will definitely increase their combat power by a large amount. And as they all exist, Bupa can make himself stronger with the help of the 3 of them. Thinking of this, Bupa said immediately, So, then you will meet Vegeta and Trunks with me. The location of the research room cannot be exposed, and the battle cannot be allowed to take place here, which will affect the evolution of the Lazuli trio. Okay big brother. Nodding his head. Broly was also about to move at the moment. Vegeta and Trunks dare to come. It should be a lot of improvement. Just take this opportunity to fight well. I hope they don't let me down. Hearing this, Bupa also smiled slightly. Vegeta in this era is still too weak to be Broly's opponent at all. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, Let's go meet them. After speaking, Bupa took a step and walked towards the outside world. Seeing this, Broly quickly followed. After leaving the area where the research lab was, Bupa and Broly dashed towards the area where Vegeta and Trunks were. Dad, I feel the anger of those 2 guys. At the same time, at the other end of the mountain not far away, Trunks suddenly stopped moving forward, staring at an area and saying, They are rushing towards us. Come yet? Hearing this, Vegeta also stopped moving forward, staring at the area not far away and said, Very good. Trunks, get those 2 damned guys out this time. Yes, Dad. Nodding, Trunks' face also became serious. Bupa grabs Bulma, which touches on Vegeta and Trunks. Call out, call out. The sound of breaking air resounded, and the figures of Bupa and Broly appeared in the area in front of Vegeta and Trunks. System, check the information of the 2. Almost instantly, Bupa opened his mouth for the system to check. In the next second, the thoughts of Vegeta and Trunks appeared in front of his eyes. Vegeta, race, Saiyan, bloodline, royal family, combat index, 100 million. Transformation, Super Saiyan, ability, Prince tactics, final flash. Trunks, race, hybrid Saiyan, combat index, 90 million. Transformation, Super Saiyan, ability, Kamehameha wave, magic flash, final flash. 100 million combat power. 90 million combat power. No wonder they dared to come here. After authoring and transforming, they already have 5 billion and 4.5 billion combat power. After reading the information of the 2, Bupa's mouth rose slightly, and then he said, Vegeta, are your father and son wanting to come to die? Bupa. Hearing this, Vegeta's face sank, and she stared at the proud Bupa, gritted her teeth, and said, today is the time of your death. Vegeta is Prince Saiyan, not something you two guys can beat. As he spoke, Vegeta clenched his fists and shouted, ha! In the next second, the golden energy shot straight into the sky. With entering the Super Saiyan form, Vegeta's combat power directly reached the point of 5 billion. Ha! Almost at the moment Vegeta transformed, the trunks in the area beside him also burst out. In the next second, Trunks directly completed the transformation and the combat power also reached the point of 4.5 billion. Good. Feeling the fluctuations of Vegeta and Trunks' combat power, Broly instantly became excited. He can feel that the strength of the two is almost the same as that of his Super Race mode. It is because of this that Broly's heart is even more eager to move. Quanja blood, encounter strong. Vegeta and Trunks can threaten his existence at the moment, so he can also take this opportunity to strengthen himself. Big brother. Almost instantly, Broly couldn't wait to say, how about these two people, leave it to me. Can. Looking at Broly, who was eager to try, Bupa didn't refuse anything even though he wanted to try it himself. After all, whether it's Vegeta or Trunks, honestly isn't strong enough to threaten him. Thinking of this, Bupa flew to a big tree not far away and said, Broly, defeat them. Let our proud Prince Saiyan see how pale his so-called power is. Okay, big brother. Hearing this, Broly was overjoyed. Immediately afterwards, Broly stepped out, activated his anger state, and instantly transformed into a 3-meter-tall giant. With the completion of the anger state, Broly also growled, ha! With golden chi gushing out, Broly directly entered the super competition mode, and his combat power also reached the level of 5 billion. After all this was done, Broly's mouth rose, and he looked at Vegeta and Trunks with a grin. Come on, the two of you. Insanity. Court death. Seeing this, Vegeta and Trunks were furious. Unexpectedly, Broly actually planned to deal with them with one enemy and two, which is simply looking down on his father and son. Subconsciously, Trunks raised his sword and was about to attack. Trunks, you're watching. However, before the Trunks could act, Vegeta was the first to scold, I'm going to kill this bastard with my own hands. After finishing speaking, Vegeta no longer hesitated, and suddenly rushed towards Broly's place, punching directly towards Broly's heart. Chapter 30. Father and son join forces to defend against the enemy, the second level of Super Saiyan. Bang! Vegeta's fist slammed into Broly's chest, and Broly couldn't help groaning with a huge burst of power, and his body couldn't help shaking. But soon Broly also stabilized his body, looked up at Vegeta in front of him, and said, that's it. With this little power, are you tickling me? With that said, Broly slammed a punch and slammed it on Vegeta's chest without hesitation. What? With a scream, Vegeta was directly shot and flew out, blood sprayed from his mouth, and the whole person was in a state of embarrassment at this moment. The same is 5 billion combat power. But Broly's blow is obviously much stronger than Vegeta's. Dad. Seeing this, Trunks couldn't help exclaiming. Immediately afterwards, he didn't hesitate, he slammed a long sword in his hand and slashed towards Broly, angrily scolding, bastard, give me death. Seeing this, Broly's eyes flashed with fear. It wasn't the strength of Trunks, but the sharpness of the long sword in his hand that made him feel threatened. With one dodging, Broly avoided the Trunks' slashing blow. Immediately afterwards, Broly dashed into the area in front of Trunks. Without the slightest hesitation, Broly slammed his fist directly on Trunks' belly. What? With a scream, Trunks also followed in Vegeta's footsteps and was punched out, and blood spurted out of his mouth. After one blow, Broly did not pursue the victory, and floated in midair to look at where Vegeta and Trunks were, and said indifferently, you two, let's go together. Fighting alone, you can never be my opponent. Bastard. Hearing this, Vegeta and Trunks' faces sank. The anger in their hearts surged, but at this moment, the two also understood that Broly would never be able to do it one-on-one. Not to mention that Bupa is still staring at the treetops not far away. Under such circumstances, they have almost no choice. Dad. Looking at each other, Trunks tightened his long sword and said, let's go up together. If you can't beat him, you can't save Mum. It is good. Hearing this, Vegeta is not refusing this time. Seeing the gap between the two sides, Vegeta stopped insisting immediately. Compared with his own pride, he wants to defeat Broly and rescue the stolen bomber at this moment. The next second, Vegeta and Trunks slammed towards Broly, attacking from left to right. It's good to come. Seeing this, Broly laughed, and the combination of Vegeta and his son was able to make him feel the pressure. Immediately, Broly came forward and fought with Vegeta and Trunks. Bang, bang, the crash rang out as Broly single-handedly took on Vegeta and the Trunks. As time passed, Broly became more and more brave, and the strength of the whole person was not only improved. In this case, the distant Bupa is also returned 10 times after Broly's promotion. Ding. Combat power increased by 1000 points. Ding. Combat power increased by 1000 points. Ding. Combat power increased by 1000 points. A steady stream of system prompts resounded, and Bupa could clearly feel that his power was constantly improving. System, turn off the beep. but Buppa frowned at the moment, and said in a rather unhappy tone, "This increase in power makes him happy, but the system prompts too many sounds and it is a bit annoying." Ding. Turn off the beep. The system sound stopped abruptly, and Buppa ignored the others and continued to watch the battle on the field. With the continuous improvement of strength, Broly's strength also intensified, which led to the worse situation of Vegeta and Trunks' father and son. The cooperation of the two fathers and sons was enough to suppress Broly, but in just over half an hour, they were no longer able to suppress Broly. The battle is evenly matched, and every attack from Broly takes Vegeta and the Trunks hard. Damn. For a time, Vegeta and Trunks' faces became extremely ugly. The change in such a situation really caught them off guard, and Broly's bravery in Vietnam made them feel a lot of pressure. At this moment, Vegeta's face was grim, her eyes fixed on Broly not far away, and she gritted her teeth sharply. "Damn, today I will let you know what Prince Saiyan's power is. Don't think that you are invincible if you fight more and more bravely. This prince's power is more than that." Saying that, Vegeta clenched her fists suddenly, and said, "Ha!" In the next second, the chi around Vegeta became violent. It can be seen that his body is obviously stronger, and the chi of the whole person has reached 6 billion in an instant. Impressively, Vegeta has transformed into the second level of Super Saiyan at this moment. This isn't Super Saiyan 2, it's just a form of Super Saiyan that enhances its own strength but sacrifices some dexterity. But even so, there is not much to lose for Vegeta. He can completely control this power, and after completing the transformation, Vegeta burst out. In the next second, Vegeta's figure arrived at the area where Broly was, and he punched directly on Broly's body. With a loud bang, Broly was shot and flew out, and a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. Ha ha. Seeing that Broly was injured, Vegeta burst into laughter and said proudly, "See, Broly, this is my true strength. Now I have increased my combat power by 60 times, what are you fighting against me, Dad?" This scene made Trunks look complicated. Originally, he was also preparing to transform into an abrupt stop at this moment, and he chose to watch on the sidelines. "Have you gotten stronger?" In response, Broly reached out and wiped the bloodstains on the corner of his mouth. Instead of being annoyed by it, his fighting spirit became more and more intense, and he said, "Okay, this power is interesting, Vegeta, let's continue." With that said, Broly let out another loud snort, and the air around him spewed out, and he attacked Vegeta directly. "It's good to come." Seeing this, Vegeta was not afraid at all, and immediately controlled herself to attack. Bang, bang. For a time, the two figures immediately followed in a frantic fight in midair. The punches hit the flesh without any dodging, the collision of strength and strength. The fight became more and more intense. "Good guy, I really underestimate Vegeta." On the top of the tree, Buppa had a panoramic view of the scene, and the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Since the second order transformation has been completed, it's a pity that it's not full power. It's not enough to help Broly. As Quinkao's power continues to emerge, Vegeta's defeat is still a foregone conclusion. Chapter 31 Piccolo's Rescue Plan. Buppa crushes Trunks. At this moment, a voice came. "Looking at the prestige, I can see that Piccolo is coming in a hurry." Seeing that Vegeta is enough to compete with Broly, Piccolo is also very excited at this moment. "I thought that if Vegeta and the Trunks failed, he was fighting to save them. But in the current situation, it seems that there is still a chance to win, and Piccolo is naturally not hiding." "Piccolo uncle." Seeing Piccolo speeding up, Trunks' eyes flashed with surprise, and then he said, "Piccolo uncle, what are you doing here?" "Of course help." Rolling his eyes, Piccolo glanced at Trunks, then said, "Vegeta has suppressed Broly now. If that's the case, then you can deal with that Buppa. I'm going to rescue Bulma now and take her out of here." Having said that, Piccolo took out the bag containing fairy bins and stuffed it into Trunks. "There are fairy bins in here, you have to be extra careful." In Piccolo's view, Vegeta and Trunks can now compete with Buppa and Broly. Then he can take this opportunity to save Bulma, so even if the island is broken when he arrives, it will be nothing. And as long as Bulma is rescued, Vegeta and Trunks won't have any worries. Even if you can't hold on, waiting for Son Goku and Son Gohan to go out is enough to contend with all this. "Okay, Piccolo uncle." Reaching out to take the bag containing fairy beans, Trunks suddenly realized, and looked at Piccolo with approval. He really didn't think about this, considering that Piccolo's strength is not inferior to number 17 and number 18. As long as he and others stop Buppa and Broly, Piccolo really has the possibility to save Bulma. Thinking of this, Trunks immediately said, "Piccolo uncle, then mother will trouble you. Those androids are strong too. Piccolo uncle must be careful." After speaking, Trunks no longer hesitated, turned around and attacked Buppa with his sword. Follow Piccolo's plan. All he needed to do now was to hold back Buppa and not give him a chance to stop him. Then Piccolo would have the possibility to save Buppa. Woo! Seeing this situation, Piccolo also sighed with relief, and without any hesitation, he turned around and galloped towards the rear. His goal now is to rescue Bulma. There is no need to continue wasting time here. Interesting. Want to save someone? Seeing the whole scene, Bupa's mouth raised a hint of disdain in his eyes. Although the Lazuli siblings and number 21 have fallen into a coma, number 16 is guarding the laboratory. Although Piccolo and Tenjin Fusion have more than 500 million combat power, they are definitely not the opponent of number 16. Thinking of this, Bupa didn't mean to stop Piccolo, and gave them a little hope, and then they would be even more desperate. Bupa, look at the sword. At this moment, Trunks came with a sword and slashed straight towards Bupa's face. It came so fast. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and the moment his mind moved, he immediately activated Super Saiyan to transform. Ha! With a low growl, Bupa entered Super Saiyan form. Looking at the attacking long sword, he did not choose to dodge, but stretched out two fingers to squeeze the sword fingers. In the next second, the azure gold gas gushed out and covered the fingers, and immediately attacked. Zheng, zheng. The flames were scattered everywhere, and under the shadow of the sword, Bupa calmly lowered all the attacks of Trunks. It's impossible. The operation was as fierce as a tiger, and Trunks looked at Bupa, who was unscathed in front of him, and a trace of panic flashed in his eyes at this moment. He could feel that Bupa's chi wasn't much stronger than his own, maybe even less than Vegeta's. But Bupa's fighting power displayed at the moment also made him feel frightened, and even felt a sense of powerlessness from the bottom of his heart. Nothing is impossible. In response, Bupa glanced at the Trunks in front of him indifferently. Broly fights more and more bravely. He got 10 times the blessing of return. Under such circumstances, his combat power continued to soar, and he was by no means comparable to Trunks with a mere 4.5 billion combat power. Thinking of this, Bupa didn't even want to play around at the moment. He stepped forward and appeared in front of Trunks. Before Trunks could react, Bupa punched him in the stomach. Ah! With a scream, the long sword in Trunks' hand slid instantly, and the whole person kept retreating in midair, covering his lower abdomen with his hands and looking hideous. One strike, with just one blow, the pain Trunks felt was enough to make him collapse. Trunks. This scene directly made Vegeta exclaim in the distance. Unexpectedly, Bupa is actually so powerful. Trunks has been fighting with him for so long, and he can't hold on anymore. Subconsciously, Vegeta wanted to step up to support the Trunks. Vegeta, your opponent is me. However, before Vegeta left, Broly's low growl resounded. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta's huge body instantly appeared where Vegeta was, and a punch hit him on the cheek. What? With a scream, Vegeta was directly shot and flew out. Before he could react, Broly was cheating on himself. As he fought more and more bravely, his basic combat power increased by nearly 2 million in a short period of time. With the blessing of anger and super competition, Broly's combat power has also reached the point of 5.2 billion. But all this was far from enough. Broly once again bullied himself and punched Vegeta like a storm. Damn. Apostrophe. Seeing this, Vegeta's face was ashen, and he kept roaring and growling, but he had to quickly adjust his emotions to fight Broly. In the blink of an eye, the two figures fought fiercely in midair again, and the entire island was shaking rapidly under the aftermath of their combat power. Trunks, is that all your power? If it's just that, I'm so disappointed. At this time, Bupa floated to the area where the Trunks were, looked up and down and said, come on, activate your transformation. You should also look at making it similar to Vegeta. Let me see how your strength is when you go all out. As soon as these words came out, Trunks' expression changed slightly. He didn't care about his own pain, looked up at Bupa and said, who the hell are you? Why do you feel like you know everything to me? What's your purpose in taking my mother? What's the plan? Chapter 32 Super Saiyan Tier 3, Piccolovs No. 16. Purpose. Glancing at Trunks, Bupa looked indifferent and didn't answer. His plans and purposes were not told to Trunks, nor was he obligated to do so. The villain died of too much talk. Bupa has this in mind. Damn. Trunks couldn't help clenching his fists again, looking at Bupa, who was indifferent and looking like an idiot. He knew that it was impossible for the other party to answer his own question, but it was because of this that Trunks became more and more uneasy. Don't say yes. If that's the case, then I'll call you until you say it. Taking a deep breath, Trunks clenched his fists sharply and exclaimed, ha. The next second, the muscles around Trunks' body were rapidly swollen, and the whole person became extremely burly at this moment. In an instant, the energy around Trunks spewed out, and it had already reached 6.5 billion. What? This gas. For a split second, Broly and Vegeta in the distance turned to look at where Trunks was. After feeling the intensity of his breath, Broly said in surprise, it's actually stronger than you. Vegeta, you are really weak. You are not as good as your own son. Bastard. Hearing this, Vegeta immediately clenched her fists and looked at Broly in front of her, wishing to slash him with 1,000 swords. At the same time, he also felt that Trunks' anger was above him, but he was not happy at all. Instead he frowned and said, this bastard, he can't hold on to this wrong transformation at all. I warned him before not to pursue too much power, but I didn't expect him to obey. For a time, Vegeta's inner mood became more and more depressed. He is very aware of the drawbacks of the Trunks form. The power is strong enough, but the speed is also a mess. Unless Bupa chooses to go head-to-head with him, the Trunks will lose. Kill. At this moment, Broly's low growl came again. It can be seen that he punched out and smashed directly into Vegeta's face. Not good. When the crisis struck, Vegeta's expression changed, and he quickly raised his arm to block. With a bang, Broly's fist hit Vegeta's arm. Vegeta, who was hurt by the huge strength, grinned, and while hurriedly retreating to avoid Broly's attack, she gritted her teeth inwardly and said, "Why is this damn guy still getting stronger? Even if you fight more and more bravely, you still need to have a limit, right? This kind of improvement without any limit is simply too much." Unfortunately, Broly is just hanging. As a Quincow bloodline, his normal combat power is not high. That is because Bupa has not been able to practice against him these years. The two sides in One Piece are at most fighting against alien beasts and exercising their bodies. But in this battle with Vegeta, Broly's bloodline power was completely unsealed. Under such a high-intensity battle, Broly's basic combat power is constantly improving like a tide. And the more Broly improves, the stronger Bupa improves. With 10 times the return, Bupa's power is rapidly increasing every moment, and there is no limit or bottleneck at all. Super Saiyan Tier 3. Looking at the transformation of Trunks in front of him, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose, and he said slowly, "Unfortunately, the drawbacks of your form are too great. It is the wrong transformation." Wrong transformation! Exclamation mark. Hearing the words, Trunks was stunned for a moment, and then his face turned ashen for a moment. "Bupa, now my power surpasses you by more than 1,000,000,000, and you are definitely not my opponent. Fix you first, and after Broly, I'll be able to rescue my mother." With that, Trunks jumped out and raised his fist to attack Bupa. Too slow. Seeing this, Bupa pouted in disapproval, and with a flick of his body, he avoided the attack of Trunks. He didn't continue to attack anything, but wrapped his arms around his chest area and said indifferently, "Trunks, give you 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, if you can touch me, then I will lose." Bastard. Seeing this, Trunks' eyes instantly turned red. Bupa made it clear that he looked down on him, so how could the Trunks tolerate it? Die. With a loud shout, Trunks immediately raised his fist and attacked Bupa frantically. However, his attack did not make any sense. The air burst with every blow, but it couldn't touch Bupa for a bit. FK fight. As Trunks roared continuously, the figures of the two kept changing in midair. But without exception, the Trunks attacks all ended in failure. Is it here? At the same time, Piccolo's figure appeared in the area where the laboratory was located. Looking down at the door of the research room that had been destroyed, his eyes flashed. "Bulma's chi is here. She should be imprisoned in it." Trunks said the android's power should be similar to mine. I have to plan to lure him out and destroy them one by one. While thinking about it, Piccolo's figure fell from the sky, thinking about how to plan. Da. Suddenly, a sound of footsteps resounded. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the figure of number 16 stepped out of the laboratory. After arriving at the entrance area, number 16 raised his head to look at where Piccolo was, and said, "Are you Piccolo? Bulma asked me to tell you that you should leave this place quickly." Bulma? Exclamation mark. Hearing this, Piccolo raised his brows, looked up and down at number 16 and said, "Are you one of those 3 androids who surrendered to Bupa? What did you do to Bulma? Now hand over Bulma, this matter can end here." Having said that, Piccolo is also determined to get rid of the androids and Bupa, Broly. After all, they are all huge threats, and if they are not dealt with, the consequences will be unimaginable. Even the entire planet could be plunged into crisis. But now Piccolo and the others are not strong enough. Son Goku and Son Gohan have not yet left the border, and Piccolo does not dare to be too arrogant. No. In this regard, number 16 looked as usual, shook his head and said, "Piccolo, you are not my opponent. Leaving now can save lives. But if you dare to shoot, then I will have to capture you and wait for Lord Bupa to deal with it." Number 16 though allegiance to Bupa, but his nature is not bad, so he is not willing to shoot with Piccolo. Insanity. Unfortunately, Piccolo didn't take it seriously. He took off the weight on his body, and then his eyes locked on number 16 and said, "Let's shoot." "Fixed you. I'm going in to kill the other 2 androids." Chapter 33 Piccolo lost and captured, Trunks lost. Stubborn. Seeing this, number 16 sighed. Piccolo is so disobedient, he can't continue to comfort him. Stepping out of the gate, number 16 said indifferently, "Go ahead, or you won't have a chance." Arrogant guy. Hearing this, Piccolo's forehead has blue veins, and the attitude of number 16 that doesn't take him seriously really pissed him off. Almost instantly, Piccolo stepped on the ground and rushed out like a cannonball towards number 16. Left. In this regard, number 16 was extremely indifferent, spit out a sentence indifferently, and avoided Piccolo's attack with a flick of his body. FK fight. At this time, Piccolo didn't care about anything. He waved his hands constantly, and countless fist shadows attacked number 16 continuously. Left, right, sweep. In his mouth, number 16 kept evading, and every time he seemed to predict Piccolo's attack, he avoided it dangerously, and did not give Piccolo any chance or possibility to hit him. How is this possible? In the blink of an eye, Piccolo had launched hundreds of attacks, but they had all failed. This made him wide-eyed and shocked. He never imagined that the guy in front of him would be so difficult to deal with. It was incredible that a method like a mind-reading technique could predict all his attack methods and paths. There are flaws. At this time, the calm voice of number 16 resounded again. It can be seen that his punch hits his heart area so fast that Piccolo has no time to react. With a scream, Piccolo's entire body was instantly knocked out and smashed to the ground, marking a distance of dozens of meters. After the body stabilized, Piccolo's mouth overflowed with blood stains. He stood up from the ground with one hand covering his heart, staring at number 16 and said, "Who are you? So powerful, why submit to Bupa and Broly?" At this moment, Piccolo was shocked and angry. "I thought that what Trunks said about the androids was a big deal. After all, they have also faced number 19 and number 20 before. Although the strength of the two is good, it is not a big deal. But now, the strength shown by number 16 is simply too much for him to resist, and he doesn't even see any chance of winning. Such a powerful existence is not just one, so why did they surrender to Bupa? With the abilities of the three of them, if he wanted to escape, he would definitely not be like this. Lord Bupa can set us free. Lord Bupa was able to keep us safe." In this regard, number 16 he glanced at Piccolo indifferently, and then slowly walked forward. "Since you have already shot, then I can't let you continue to make troubles. Master Bupa's plan is not for anyone to destroy, including you." Saying that, number 16's forward movement suddenly accelerated, but in the blink of an eye, the figure of number 16 appeared in the area where Piccolo was. Without giving Piccolo any chance to react, number 16 punched out, and the storm-like attacks fell on Piccolo's body. What? For a time, Piccolo's screams resounded in all directions. Under such circumstances, it can be seen that Piccolo's whole body was bruised and bruised, so it is difficult for the resilience of the Namek people to fully recover as before. Not only that, but the attack on the 16th continued to intensify, and Piccolo also tried to resist and dodge. Unfortunately, his strength is not enough to match number 16, so the resistance has no effect. As for dodging, number 16's super-intelligent brain has already counted it to death, and no matter how evasive it is, number 16 will be the first to anticipate an attack. In just 3 minutes, Piccolo had been beaten all over and was dying, and number 16 did not stop his movements. He knew very well that his attack would not be fatal. He knew Piccolo's information, and he knew better how tenacious the vitality of the Namek people was. "Stop on the 16th. At this moment, a voice came from behind. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Boomer ran out in a hurry, and when he saw Piccolo, who was covered in bruises, he shouted with tears in his eyes, "Don't kill him. You just grab him and wait for Bupa to go." Hearing this, number 16 frowned. He didn't have to obey Boomer's orders. However, thinking about the importance of Boomer that Bupa had said before, the action of the number 16 attack was also taken aback. Immediately afterwards, number 16 stretched out his hand, and an energy line flew out and tied Piccolo on the ground. After all this was done, number 16 restrained his energy, picked up Piccolo and walked towards Boomer. Seeing this, Boomer breathed a sigh of relief. Immediately afterwards, she also quickly stepped forward and began to check how Piccolo was injured. Why is that? On the other end, a full 5 minutes had passed, and all the Trunks attacks had failed, not even touching Bupa. For a while, Trunks stopped the attacking action in his hand, and his whole body was struck by lightning. Hearing this, Bupa smiled. The strength surpasses oneself, but the price is to give up the speed. Such a wrong transformation is meaningless. Trunks, you lost. After saying something indifferently, Bupa appeared at the Trunks. Immediately afterwards, Bupa squeezed his sword fingers with both hands and pierced Trunks' heart directly. With a scream, Trunks widened his eyes and looked down at the sword finger that pierced his heart, his eyes full of horror. Death is coming. This made Trunks unbelievable, even a little unresponsive. Trunks. Seeing this scene not far away, Vegeta cried out in pain. At this moment, Vegeta shouted loudly, and the whole person entered the third stage of Super Saiyan. In the next second, Vegeta's chi increased by another billion, and he punched Broly, who had not reacted. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta quickly returned to the state of the second stage of Super Saiyan, and then quickly attacked Bupa. Interesting, it's actually possible to complete the third stage, and it can also be controlled by itself. Vegeta's talent is not bad. Taking a panoramic view of this scene, the corner of Bupa's mouth rose slightly, grabbed Trunks, and threw it to Vegeta without hesitation. Chapter 34 Bupa's Pig Raising Project. The Sad Cell. Seeing this scene, Vegeta was stunned, and the action that originally attacked Bupa was taken aback. He quickly reached out to hug the flying Trunks and said nervously, "Trunks, how do you feel, Dad?" Opening his eyes, Trunks looked at Vegeta in a complicated way, and said with difficulty, "Xiandu, in my arms. Fairy beans?" Hearing this, Vegeta was stunned for a moment, then suddenly reached into Trunks' arms and took out the fairy beans sent by Piccolo. For a time, Vegeta was overjoyed and quickly took out a fairy bean and stuffed it into Trunks' mouth. After eating the fairy beans, Trunks' breath instantly stabilized, and the lost vitality also recovered, including the heart that was pierced. Seeing this, Vegeta breathed a sigh of relief. Trunks has no life to worry about, which is definitely the best news so far. However, Vegeta's heart is also quite heavy at the moment. He can feel that he is not Broly's opponent, nor Bupa's opponent. Under such circumstances, if the two of them continue to fight, there is only one way to go. Although Vegeta is not afraid of death, he does not want to die just like that. After all, Bulma was still waiting for his rescue, and it was impossible for the little Trunks in the family to give up when they said they gave up. Bupa, Broly, this prince will come back, and then it will be your end. With a low growl in his mouth, Vegeta suddenly picked up the Trunks and galloped away from the island. By now, Vegeta understands that only waiting for Son Goku and Son Gohan to come out after their father and son are out, adding themselves and the Trunks has the chance and possibility of defeating Bupa and Broly. Want to escape? Leave it all to me. Seeing this, Broly's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he was about to hunt down Vegeta and Trunks with a sudden erection. Broly, that's enough. However, before Broly could act, Bupa on the side stopped him. Let them go. They are too weak now, and it doesn't make much sense to kill them. Yes, sir. Hearing this, Broly stopped moving forward, glanced at Vegeta and Trunks who had completely left, and then dispersed and transformed. Immediately afterwards, Broly floated over to Bupa's side and asked inexplicably, "Brother, why did you let them go?" Although they are also Saiyans, they obviously won't submit to Big Brother, and they can't be used by Big Brother. There was no room for Broly not to wonder. This is the second time. Before, it was to subdue Bulma, and it was enough to let Vegeta and the others go. This time Vegeta and others took the initiative to seek death, but Bupa still let them go, which made Broly incomprehensible. "Broly, there are too few good whetstones." In response, Bupa smiled lightly and waved his hand. Whether it's Vegeta, Trunks, Son Goku or Son Gohan, their potential is good. As long as you give them enough time, they can quickly become stronger, and at that time they can become your whetstones and help you become stronger. Besides that, Son Goku et al. Are also a good living material. I'm going to build artificial Saiyan, so the cells of Son Goku, Vegeta, Trunks and Son Gohan are also available. Compared to the 12 lower-level Saiyans on the new Vegeta star, the artificial Saiyans grown from their cells have greater potential. And the stronger they become, the stronger the cells will be, and the stronger the potential and the strength of the artificial Saiyan that will be created. I see. After listening to Bupa's story, Broly suddenly realized. No wonder Bupa didn't let himself kill them. It turned out to be to raise pigs by fattening Vegeta and others, and then growing more and stronger artificial Saiyan from their cells. Bupa's Justice League plan will be realized faster. Thinking of this, Broly immediately looked at Bupa with admiration and said, "Brother, you are still thinking deeply. Continuously squeezing their residual value is more cruel than killing them directly." Hearing this, Bupa also smiled slightly. At the beginning of the time travel, he just thought about bringing Broly to report the protagonist team's thighs, and following them is bound to succeed. But with the awakening of the system, this so-called protagonist team means nothing to him. At the same time, he also wants to see what the limits of Son Goku and others are. Under their own high-intensity suppression, how far can Son Goku and others achieve? The main thing is that the likes of Son Goku's leaps and bounds can help Broly get stronger quickly. Only the battle of life and death can greatly improve Broly, and Broly's improvement is also a huge improvement for him. After all, Broly's potential is invincible, and no matter how much he improves his combat power, he will get 10 times the return. At that time, Son Goku and others will not be able to be their opponents no matter what they do. The most important thing is that although it is in the GT world, Bupa is still quite afraid. What if this universe also has the existence of gods of destruction? What if there is also an angel in this universe? What if this universe is also under Xeno's jurisdiction? In that case, pure-blooded Saiyans like Son Goku could be the chance to transform into Super Saiyan God. 5 Justice Saiyans inject the power of their hearts into one person at the same time, and they can become Super Saiyan God. Although the Super 4 in the GT world is not weak, there may even be a Super 5. But the power potential of Super Saiyan God is obviously greater. Even if there is a 1 in a billion chance, Bupa will not choose to give up. After all, he wasn't sure whether the artificial Saiyan could have the same heart power as the real Saiyan. Thinking of this, Bupa turned to look at Broly and said, "Let's go Broly, we should go back." The Piccolo guy broke in before, and he should have been captured by number 16 by now. "Yes, sir." Nodding, Broly immediately followed Bupa towards the lab. Damn, it's such a waste. How can these guys become so much stronger all of a sudden? At the same time, on an island hundreds of nautical miles away, Future Cell clenched his fists, his eyes full of grief and anger and unwillingness. He had sensed the fluctuations of Bupa and the others' battles long ago, and had rushed in to make them both lose and reap the benefits of the fisherman. But the result? Vegeta and Trunks just fled. Moreover, the strength of Vegeta and Trunks has also improved too much, and he is not an opponent at all, which also makes him unable to kill them and devour them. In the current situation, number 17 and number 18 are under the protection of Bupa and Broly, and he has no chance to devour each other. Chapter 35, Imprison Piccolo. Collect Dragon Ball. Laboratory. Buppa and Broly are back in stride. Master Buppa. At this time, number 16 stepped forward, bowed and said, Piccolo on Earth just came here in an attempt to save Bulma, and I have already captured him. Please ask Lord Buppa to order what to do. At this moment, number 16 has completely integrated into his current role. Although he hadn't participated in Buppa and Broly's battle before, he could sense the terrifying aura that Buppa and Broly exuded. That terrifying power fluctuation, even number 16 has no confidence to compete with it. So, now he has completely recognized Buppa, and even loyal to each other from the bottom of his heart. Very good. Nodding with satisfaction, Buppa glanced at number 16, and then said, Piccolo is still useful. He doesn't need to be killed. Number 16, then you can just watch him in the area where Piccolo is. There's nothing to do as long as he doesn't flee and resist, but if he dares to act rashly, he will be taught a good lesson. Yes, Lord Buppa. Nodding his head, number 16 said solemnly, then I'll go first. After speaking, number 16 turned around and walked towards the area where Piccolo was being held. Big brother. After number 16 left, Broly was a little puzzled. Why not kill him? You Piccolo is not Saiyan, you have little value. No. Waving his hand, Buppa raised the corner of his mouth and said, Piccolo can't die, he's already a god on Earth now. Once he dies, the Shenron on Earth will also be wiped out. So, he must be allowed to survive. After all, the Dragon Ball that can fulfill his wish is still quite valuable. Having said that, Buppa didn't look at Broly beside him. Dragon Ball can realize all wishes, but it is not unlimited, and there are limits. If he made a wish with Dragon Ball to allow Broly to master his own sanity while transforming into a super mode, will he become stronger? Thinking of this, Buppa's eyes couldn't help but flash. Dragon Ball, Shenron who made his wish come true. After listening to Buppa's words, Broly on the side was a little surprised. Brother, does such a magical thing really exist? So Shenron can really fulfill all wishes? There's no room for Broly not to be surprised. After all, Shenron's wish was unbelievable. Good. Nodding his head, Buppa came back to his senses. Looking at the possibility, Broly said, Broly, follow me to see Bulma. She should have the Dragon Ball radar in her hand. It will take a while for the Lazuli brothers and sisters to break through, so I just took this opportunity to collect Dragon Ball and try it out. Okay, big brother. Hearing this, Broly also nodded. He was also quite curious at this moment whether the so-called Shenron was really omnipotent and could fulfill any wish. Da. The footsteps resounded, and Buppa and Broly quickly came to the depths of the laboratory. It can be seen that Bulma is busy in it alone, and in the area next to her, Lazuli and number 21 are both falling into a deep sleep. Obviously, their evolution has not been completely completed, and they are still in a state of lethargy at the moment. Bulma. Seeing this situation, Buppa didn't care. He stepped forward and came to Buppa's side and said, Do you have a Dragon Ball radar on you? What do you want the Dragon Ball radar for? Question. Bulma's face changed, and he looked at Buppa subconsciously in horror. After all, the value of Dragon Ball is huge, and Broly and Buppa are strong enough now. If they were to get Dragon Ball, the consequences would be unimaginable. The most important thing is that Dragon Ball itself is the last heritage of the Earth. Once the Dragon Ball is used, it will not be restored until a year later. If something happens in the middle, the consequences will be disastrous. You do not need to know. Waving his hand, Buppa said indifferently, you just need to answer whether I have it or not. If it's not with you, then I'll have to go to your Universal Capsule Company to find it myself. Apostrophe. Wait a moment. After waiting for this, Bulma became anxious. Buppa goes to the Universal Capsule Company. Wouldn't it be possible to kill people? In the event of an accident, both his parents and the human beings in the Western capital would suffer. Thinking of this, although Bulma was reluctant, she had to compromise, taking out an all-purpose capsule from her arms and throwing it to the ground. With a bang, the Universal Capsule was opened, and a Dragon Ball radar appeared on the ground. Bending down to pick up the Dragon Ball radar, Bulma looked at Buppa with a complicated expression and said, This is the Dragon Ball radar you want. Please don't destroy cities, don't kill humans. Hearing this, Buppa smiled. Bulma's words are enough to show the fear of himself in his heart. But that's fine too. Only with enough fear can he intimidate the other side, so that Bulma does not dare to make trouble or disobey his own orders. Broly. Thinking of this, Buppa took the Dragon Ball radar and threw it to Broly, and said, Go back to me the 7 Dragon Balls scattered on the Earth according to the coordinates on the Dragon Ball radar. Yes, sir. With a promise, Broly reached for the Dragon Ball radar. After playing around for a while, he quickly learned how to use Gai. After all this was done, Broly no longer hesitated, turned around and hurriedly left the laboratory and started to search for the 7 Dragon Balls all over the Earth. Woo! Seeing this, Bulma breathed a sigh of relief, and a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes. But soon, Bulma calmed down, looked at Buppa curiously and said, Buppa, what other purpose do you have besides wanting to make artificial Saiyan? If I help you create an artificial Saiyan, will you be able to let me go? Saying that, Bulma looked at Buppa with pleading and pitiful eyes. After all, she is just a weak woman. And not only have their own husbands, friends, but also their own children on Earth. Let you go? Glancing at Bulma, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and an evil thought flashed in his mind. Immediately afterwards, Bupa stepped forward, and under Bulma's stunned gaze, he stretched out his hand to lift her chin, and said, "It won't be a problem to let you go after this is done. But your performance makes me very dissatisfied. How do you think I should let you go back? Unless..." With that, Bupa lowered his head and whispered a few words in Bulma's ear. For a moment, Bupa's body was stiff, his eyes were round, and he stared at Bupa's eyes full of fear and shyness. Chapter 36. Vegeta and his son ask Bobo for advice. The deadly supernatural water, Skyline. Call out, call out. The sound of breaking through the air rang out, and Vegeta and Trunks hurried back. Bobo. Just after landing, Vegeta brought Trunks directly to the area where Bobo was. "Mr. Vegeta, what's the matter?" Bobo was stunned for a moment, and then asked. After all, Vegeta had never greeted him before. Bobo. However, at the moment, Vegeta didn't care so much, and immediately asked, "I want to ask, can you really only enter 2 people at a time in the time house?" Vegeta was not reconciled, failed again, and the defeat was extremely complete, let alone saving Bulma. Almost. He and Trunks died on that island. But under the current circumstances, he has no good way to improve his strength, and his only hope is the time house. But Son Goku and Son Gohan have only been in for a day or so, and it will take at least another day to come out. But Vegeta couldn't bear it anymore. He had to enter it again to improve his strength. Only in this way can we have the possibility to defeat Bupa and Broly and save Bulma. Theoretically it is. Facing the question, Bobo pondered a little and replied, "But more people can enter it." "But in that case, the environment in the time house will be even worse, and there will be life-threatening worries if you are not careful. And you have been in for 2 days before. If you enter it, the door of the time room will be completely closed, and you will be locked inside and cannot come out." As soon as these words came out, Vegeta's face instantly turned ugly. Being locked in a time house forever is absolutely impossible for Vegeta to accept. How good is that? How can we save Mom and Piccolo uncle if there is no time house? Trunks also turned pale, and was extremely flustered about this matter. What? There's something wrong with Piccolo too. Hearing this, Bobo panicked. Piccolo is fused with the gods. If something happens to Piccolo, the consequences will be disastrous. Yes, Mr. Popo. Faced with the inquiry, Trunks did not dare to neglect, and immediately told the story of Piccolo. Immediately afterwards, Trunks said, "I waited for a while after Dad and I left, but Piccolo uncle didn't come out either. I was worried that he might have an accident." Hearing this, Bobo's face also became difficult to look at. If Angel dies, then the situation of the Earth will undergo a huge change, and it will be difficult for him to control the situation at that time. Thinking of this, Bobo's expression changed, and he looked at Vegeta and Trunks and said, "Actually, I know a way to increase my strength. But this method is extremely dangerous, and you will die if you are not careful." Only Son Goku was able to persevere completely back then. In addition to that, Kling, Yamcha and others didn't persevere completely. Hearing this, Vegeta and Trunks were refreshed. Something that only Son Goku has done and is able to build up, which is definitely something they can only dream of right now. While there could be big downsides, maybe even death, Vegeta and Trunks couldn't care less at the moment. After looking at each other, Vegeta immediately asked, "Bobo, what are you talking about?" "Yes, Mr. Popo. Is there any way to greatly improve the strength of my father and me?" Facing the question, Bobo hesitated for a while, and then he said, "Super Divine Water." Super Divine Water can develop the potential of a human body, but it is also an extremely dangerous poison. After Son Goku drank the Super Divine Water, his potential was continuously developed. If you want to become stronger, you can only drink the supernatural water, but you may also die directly. Super Divine Water. Unleash your potential. Hearing this, Vegeta and Trunks' eyes lit up. If it is true as Bobo said, then the value of this supernatural water will be beyond doubt, and it may even be what they need now. Thinking of this, Vegeta immediately said, "Bobo, please tell me where the super divine water is." "Mr. Popo, we are willing to try it. Only by getting stronger will we be able to rescue Mommy and Piccolo uncle." Hearing this, Bobo took a deep look at Vegeta and Trunks, and then said, "Since you two are so firm, then I will give you the real supernatural water. You wait here for a while, I'll be back when I go." After that, Bobo turned around and walked towards the area in the heaven where the super divine water was stored. Although there is also super divine water in Kalan Tower, it has already been drunk by Son Goku, Krillin and others. Therefore, the only supernatural waters that Vegeta and Trunks can drink now are those in the heavens. After about a quarter of an hour, Bobo went back and forth. It can be seen that he is holding 2 bowls in his hand, and there are crystal clear liquid floating in them, which is super divine water. "Mr. Vegeta, Mr. Trunks, this is the supernatural water." Coming to the area in front of Vegeta and Trunks, Bobo raised the bowl in his hand without hesitation and said, "But the supernatural water can be deadly. Are you sure you want to drink it?" "Drink? Of course I want to drink." Hearing this, Vegeta gritted her teeth sharply, and immediately took a bowl of super divine water, and said with a serious look, "Bupa, Broly, this prince will definitely kill you all if he doesn't die." After that, Vegeta drank a bowl of super divine water directly. The supernatural water entered his stomach, and Vegeta's body trembled suddenly. Immediately afterwards, Vegeta was in constant pain, and immediately fell to the ground and screamed, "Ah, Dad!" Seeing this, Trunks was stunned, and subconsciously stepped forward to check Vegeta's situation. Mr. Trunks. However, before Trunks could act, Bobo on the side was the first to say, "You can't help him now. Mr. Vegeta can digest the supernatural water only if he survives this level by himself. Now that you have seen the horror of super divine water, are you still going to drink it?" Hearing this, Trunks' eyes flashed with a hint of hesitation. After all, Bulma and human beings in the future world are still waiting for him to go back to rescue. If you die after drinking the super divine water, then, I'm sure. But soon, Trunks made up his mind and grabbed the super divine water and poured it into his mouth. Superbly, Trunks immediately followed in Vegeta's footsteps, and fell to the ground with a scream. Chapter 37 Son Goku's father and son exit, Super Saiyan full power. Looking at the unconscious Vegeta and Trunks on the ground, Bobo sighed, and then murmured, "I hope you can survive. The earth cannot be without the existence of gods. Otherwise, that guy's seal." Time flies, and half a day has passed in the blink of an eye. Kaiji. The door to the time house opened. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Son Goku and Son Gohan in Super Ace form have walked out of the time house. After practicing in the time house for more than a year, both Son Goku and Son Gohan have completed Super Saiyan full power. It's just that it has not been fully grasped, and the power at this moment is not very stable, and it is necessary to maintain Super Saiyan to stabilize the realm. Mr. Goku. Mr. Gohan. At this time, Bobo came in a hurry. After arriving at the place where Son Goku and Son Gohan were, Bobo said quickly, "You finally came out. Please be sure to save the gods." "God!" Hearing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan were taken aback for a moment, then looked at each other and said, "Bobo, you mean Piccolo?" "Mr. Popo, what happened to Piccolo, uncle?" In an instant, both Son Goku and Son Gohan panicked. After all, Piccolo has a very good relationship with them, and now something is obviously wrong, which is not good news. Is such that, hearing this, Bobo didn't dare to neglect, and quickly told the story again. "How so?" "Piccolo got caught. Vegeta and Trunks didn't wait for us to go straight to Broly and Bupa." After listening to Bobo's narration, Son Goku and Son Gohan's faces both turned ugly. "We all agreed to go together before. Now Vegeta and Trunks are taking the lead, not only failing but even leading to Piccolo's capture. Bulma has not been rescued, and now that Piccolo has been caught again, the situation is even more unfavorable for them." At this moment, a scream suddenly came from a room not far away. In the next second, you can feel two violent chi passing out. This breath is Vegeta. Hearing the sound, Son Goku and Son Gohan were stunned for a moment, and then they quickly flew towards the room without caring about the others. Piccolo was caught, which made them impatient. But neither Son Goku nor Son Gohan knew very well that in such a situation they were impatient and there was nothing they could do. Even though they have completed Super Saiyan full power, they have no absolute certainty that they can take down Bupa and Broly. Therefore, now Vegeta and Trunks must not have an accident. Only the four of them will have an absolute chance of winning, and both Bulma and Piccolo will be rescued. In the room, Vegeta and Trunks are both suxing, and they are still roaring constantly at this moment. Vegeta and Trunks' chi was rapidly rising as the power of the supernatural water continued to work. In just a few breaths, Vegeta's chi reached 400 million, and Trunks' chi has reached the level of 350 million. So strong. What a strong sense of oppression. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan both shrank their pupils, and looked at Vegeta and Trunks with amazement. Although he has not yet transformed into Super Saiyan, there is no doubt that Vegeta and Trunks have surpassed Son Goku and Son Gohan in power at this moment. Success. Great, they all persevered. Seeing this, Bobo was overjoyed, and looked at Vegeta and Trunks even more excitedly. After all, the power of the two has been greatly improved, and with Son Goku and his son out of the customs, such a combination will definitely be able to defeat Bupa, and Broly will save both Bulma and Piccolo. "Bobo, what's the situation?" At this time, Son Goku asked in surprise. Son Goku was surprised that Vegeta and Trunks became so much stronger all at once. Not only him, but also Son Gohan looked at Bobo curiously. "You must know that the basic combat power of Son Goku and Son Gohan in this retreat is only about 100 million. Vegeta and Trunks weren't as strong as them before, and it's impossible to say they improved so much after losing to Bupa and Broly. Super divine water." In this regard, Bobo didn't hide it, and immediately said, "I gave Mr. Vegeta and Mr. Trunks super magic water." Thank goodness they all persevered, and Kashin Shui has successfully developed the potential of their body parts, which has improved their strength so much at once. "I see." Nodding suddenly, Son Goku understood what was going on. Super divine water. He drank this thing, and almost died that year. "Dad." At this time, Son Gohan suddenly said, "I want to drink super divine water too." Although his tone was timid, Son Gohan's expression was also extremely firm. He is very clear that his strength is not enough. Even if he completes the full power of Super Saiyan, he is at most stronger than the previous Vegeta and Trunks. But the two of them failed to go before, and even Piccolo was captured. The only hope is to drink Super Divine Water to improve their strength. Hearing this, Son Goku hesitated. Having drank the Super Divine Water, he understood how dangerous this matter was. Son Gohan was his son, and Son Goku didn't want him to suffer like this. In case of failure, Son Gohan is likely to die completely. Dad. However, at this moment Son Gohan is also extremely firm. I want to rescue Piccolo Uncle and Boomerang. And in addition to the two Saiyans, there is also the threat of artificial humans. I must become stronger as soon as possible. Hearing this, Son Goku couldn't help but sighed, turned his head to look at Bobo and said, Bobo, is there still Super Divine Water? Yes, Mr. Goku. Nodding, Bobo glanced at Son Gohan and said, I'll get it now. Since Mr. Goku, Mr. Vegeta and Mr. Trunks are holding on, then Mr. Gohan will be fine. After saying that, Bobo left the place in a hurry. Seeing this, Son Goku and Son Gohan didn't say anything, but looked at Vegeta and Trunks, who were still stabilizing their strength in the field. About a quarter of an hour later, Bobo came back again with a bowl of Super Divine Water. After reaching the front and back of Son Goku and Son Gohan, Bobo said, Mr. Gohan, you must hold on. The power of Super Divine Water is terrifying, and only a firm will can conquer it. Chapter 38 Dragon Ball makes a wish, and Super Android is born. It is good. With a heavy nod, Son Gohan stretched out his hand to take the supernatural water and drank it without any hesitation. The next second, Son Gohan's screams resounded. The power of the supernatural water surged, causing Son Gohan to faint directly. Seeing this, Son Goku's eyes flashed with pain, and he quickly caught Son Gohan and placed him on the ground. At the other end, Broly has traveled all over the earth to collect the 7 Dragon Balls. At this moment, Broly hurriedly returned to the research room with the 7 Dragon Balls. Big brother. Entering the research room, Broly quickly came to the place where Bupa practiced. Well, I'm back. Hearing this, Bupa stopped cultivating, stood up from the ground and said, have you got the Dragon Ball? It's all set. Nodding his head, Broly took out the 7 Dragon Balls in his hand and said, brother, what wish do you want? Wait a minute and you'll find out. With a slight smile, Bupa glanced at Chi Dragon Ball, and then said, Broly, come out with me. It is good. With a promise, Broly did not dare to neglect, and immediately followed Bupa with 7 Dragon Balls. Soon, the two were out of the laboratory. After placing the 7 Dragon Balls on the ground, Bupa said, come out, Shenron. Rumbling, rumbling. The sound of thunder resounded, and it could be seen that the endless dark clouds above the sky began to gather, and the entire earth fell into darkness at this moment. In the next second, the 7 Dragon Ball was radiant, and a Shenron could be seen sprouting from it. In the blink of an eye, he stood between the heavens and the earth, and said condescendingly, speak your wish, any wish is fine. This movement is Shenron. Someone used the power of Dragon Ball. At the same time, within the heavenly realm, Son Goku and Bobo hurried out of the room. After seeing the darkness outside, Son Goku's face instantly became serious and said, Mr. Popo, do you know who is using Dragon Ball? I'll check. Without refusing, Bobo immediately closed his eyes and began to investigate. After a while, Bobo suddenly opened his eyes and said, no, those two Saiyans. They've got the Dragon Ball, and Shenron has been summoned. It's them. Hearing this, Son Goku's face changed greatly. There is no doubt about the power of Bupa and Broly, and now that they have summoned Shenron, what kind of wish would they make? If it is the desire to enhance their own abilities, the consequences are absolutely unimaginable. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately said, no, I have to stop them. Definitely not allow Bupa and Broly to come forward. Kakarot, I'll go with you. Goku uncle, I'll go with you too. At this moment, 2 voices came from behind. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Vegeta and Trunks have also walked out of the room. The super divine water that has been successfully refined has greatly increased the strength of the two now. Although tired, but after eating the fairy beans, he has recovered 7 to 88. Vegeta, Trunks. Seeing the two come out, Son Goku's eyes flashed with joy, and he said, then let's go now. We can't wait any longer. Once Shenron's wish is complete, Bupa and Broly will definitely be stronger. This remark immediately aroused the approval of Vegeta and Trunks. The three of them didn't hesitate anymore, and immediately flew out of the sky and swept towards the island where Bupa and the others were. Wow, big brother, is this Shenron? On the island, Broly looked at the behemoth in front of him in surprise, his eyes full of incredible colors. Shenron actually exists in this world, and it can also fulfill people's wishes. Yes, this is Shenron. With an indifferent smile, Bupa glanced at Broly, then raised his head to look at Shenron and said, Shenron, please grant me and Broly absolute sanity, so that our minds will not be affected by the transformation. After that, Bupa looked at Shenron expectantly. This is the result of Bupa's thinking, and Broly's transformation into Quan Zhao will risk losing his mind. Therefore, letting him grasp reason is something that must be done as soon as possible. At the same time, Although Bupa himself cannot transform into Quinkao due to his bloodline, he also has the existence of the system Golden Finger. In the future, only Broly's Quanjiao bloodline needs to go further, then he can get 10 times the return, so that his own Quanjiao bloodline will also improve. At that time, he will be able to master whether it is in the anger state or the super transfer mode, so that he can burst into a stronger strength. Therefore, he also needs to stabilize his mind and reason to ensure that there will be no problems at that time. Shenron. The wish is simple. After a brief hesitation, Shenron turned on the power. It can be seen that his eyes are red at this moment, and 2 special forces have penetrated into Bupa and Broly's bodies. Under such circumstances, Bupa could clearly feel that he was lucid for a while, and his intelligence also improved. Not only that, but Broly's chi began to surge, and the grass-green chi continued to spread, causing him to switch between normal and super transmission modes. Shenron, your wish has been fulfilled. After a while, Shenron finished his work, looked down at Bupa and Broly, and then dissipated into 7 Dragon Balls and flew to all parts of the earth. It's done. Seeing this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and his eyes showed joy at this moment. At the same time, his eyes also turned to Broly beside him. Unsurprisingly, Shenron's power has repaired the drawbacks of his super bloodline transmission. Under such circumstances, Broly's power is bound to be greatly enhanced. Rumbling, rumbling. Suddenly, a roar resounded quietly. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the mountain of the laboratory collapsed. Immediately afterwards, the Lazuli siblings can be seen, and the figure of number 21 emerges from it. Meanwhile, number 16 also flew out of it with Bulma and Piccolo. Have you completed the breakthrough? Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, System, check the information about Lazuli and number 21. In the next second, the information of the 3 people appeared in front of Bupa's eyes. Lazuli, race, android, combat power, 3.2 billion, loyalty, 89, Lapis, race, android, combat power, 3.6 billion, loyalty, 88, the 21st, race, android, combat power, 1.8 billion, loyalty, 85, loss. After reading the 3 people's information, Bupa's mouth twitched, and a trace of regret flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect that Lazuli and others would suddenly increase their combat power after they evolved into super androids. If he had known this earlier, he would have waited for a while to brush their loyalty to 90. After all, the 10-fold return of the training system can only be provided by die-hard loyalists whose loyalty reaches at least 90. This is also why Bupa insists on creating artificial Saiyan, and the loyalty that he cultivated since childhood is high in conquering the rest. Chapter 39. Broly's strength surged. Bupa became stronger again. But soon, Bupa also responded. Although they lost a lot, the potential of the Lazuli siblings and number 21 has also greatly improved. Under such circumstances, they still have great potential for development in the future. Coupled with a substantial increase in their loyalty this time, although they have not yet reached the level of 90 die-hard loyalists, they are also infinitely close. It can be seen that it is not too bad to make them super androids this time. After all, the subordinates who are loyal will always be much stronger than those who are only loyal to themselves. At this moment, a low roar resounded. Looking at the reputation, Broly can see the grass-green air spouting around Broly, and the whole person directly enters the super transmission mode. In this case, Broly's power is rapidly rising, 10 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion. Broly's chi stopped growing when it reached the level of more than 50 billion. The whole person stood still like a mountain, and the violent aura around him began to keep introverted. Ding. Broly increased by 40 million. The host returned 10 times, and increased combat power by 400 million. The system prompt sounded at this moment, and Bupa could clearly feel that his basic combat power had increased from 120 million to 520 million. Good. Feeling the improvement of his own strength, Bupa couldn't help laughing, and immediately gave an order, System, check Broly and my own personal panel. In the next second, the panels of Bupa and Broly appeared. Bupa, race, Saiyan, bloodline, second class super bloodline, combat strength, 520 million, transformation, Super Saiyan, ability, Prince Tactics, Final Flash, Kaio-Ken. Broly, race, Saiyan, bloodline, inferior super bloodline, combat strength, 52 million, transformation, Furious State, Super Saiyan, Quint Super Mode, ability, Kaio-Ken, Prince Tactics, Final Flash, loyalty, 100. Good. After reading his and Broly's panel information, Bupa's eyes immediately showed his satisfaction. This time Broly's improvement is huge, and it is also a big opportunity for him. Although the improvement of bloodline has not been completed, Broly has not only greatly increased his strength, but even increased his strength by a full 5 times after solving the drawbacks of Quinkao's bloodline. In such a situation, neither Son Goku and others in the form of Super Saiyan 2 nor Lightning Cell could be his opponents. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately stepped forward and said, Broly, put away and transform. Now that the drawbacks of transformation have been solved, you can also have one more trump card in the future. Yes, sir. Hearing this, Broly nodded immediately. He wouldn't disobey Bupa's orders, and his super transformation and anger state disappeared as soon as his mind moved. After returning to normal, Broly looked at Bupa gratefully and said, "Thank you, bro. If it wasn't for the assistance of my elder brother, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to solve my own shortcomings. Now that I can master my own mind, there is no risk of going wild with the transformation of Quan Cow mode." Having said that, Broly looked at Bupa even more gratefully. Compared to all this, Bupa helped him get it. Otherwise it was just that he himself was completely unsure of controlling the passing mode that would run wild at any time. "It doesn't have to be." Waving his hand, Bupa said indifferently, "You are my younger brother. The stronger you are, the better it will be for me. And my brother doesn't want you to continue to run wild. After all, the harm caused by each runaway is unacceptable to you." Indeed, at Wumpa Star that year, Broly had a violent past several times. Although Bupa was not harmed, the creatures on Paragus and Wumpa were also destroyed. It was Broly's repeated runaways that saved the young Bupa, and at the same time forced Paragus to leave Wumpa in advance, so that Bupa was completely out of danger. "Okay, big brother." Nodding his head, Broly said solemnly, "Don't worry, brother, I will definitely work harder to protect you in the future." Nodding, Bupa didn't refuse anything this time. Broly wants to protect herself, which is a good thing for Bupa, which means the other party's recognition and loyalty to her is extremely high. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, "Okay, since you have completed your ascension, then call out, call out, call out." Just as Bupa was about to continue speaking, the sound of breaking through the air quietly resounded. Looking at the sound, Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks appeared in the sky above their area. "Are you here again?" Seeing the three people appearing, Bupa's eyes flashed, and then he secretly said, "System, check the information of the three people." In the next second, the information of the three Son Goku appeared. Vegeta, race, Saiyan, bloodline, royal family, combat strength, 400 million, transformation, Super Saiyan, ability, Prince Warfare, artificial moon, final flash. Trunks, race, hybrid Saiyan, combat strength, 350 million, transformation, Super Saiyan, ability, Kamehameha wave, magic flash, final flash. Son Goku, race, Saiyan, bloodline, inferior bloodline, combat power, 250 million, transformation, Super Saiyan full power, ability, Kamehameha wave, Kaio-Ken, spirit bomb, 400 million, 350 million. With a slight frown, Bupa looked at Vegeta and Trunks in surprise and said, "Vegeta and Trunks have only been gone for about 2 days. Why have they become so much stronger all of a sudden?" On the contrary, Son Goku's 250 million combat power is still similar to the original. Although it has improved, it is still within the acceptable range. Isn't Son Gohan, who hasn't appeared yet, still getting stronger? That kid won't just come out and play Super Saiyan 2, right? At this moment, Bupa was full of surprise. It's really that the strength of the three Vegetas increased too quickly, making him wonder if it was the butterfly effect caused by the fact that he was sitting. Bulma, Piccolo. At this time, the eyes of Son Goku and Vegeta in midair were focused on Bulma and Piccolo. Son Goku and Vegeta breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that although the two were embarrassed, nothing had happened. Old grandson, Vegeta. Conversely, Piccolo and Bulma's reactions at the moment were completely different. Piccolo has a look of surprise, but Bulma is more complicated. The things that happened more than a day ago appeared in his mind subconsciously, and he clenched his fists subconsciously, and there was some dodging in his eyes. Chapter 40 Vegeta and Son fight again. Broly. However, Bulma's reaction, Son Goku, Vegeta and the Trunks went unnoticed. Seeing that the two were still safe at the moment, none of Son Goku continued to stare at anything. After looking at each other, the three figures of Son Goku appeared in the area in front of Bupa and the others. Bupa. Taking a step forward, Son Goku immediately asked, "What is the purpose of your coming to Earth? Why did you kidnap Bulma?" As soon as these words came out, Vegeta and Trunks also looked at Bupa curiously. After confirming Bulma's safety, they didn't have many other thoughts in their hearts. On the contrary, it is the purpose of Bupa and Broly to come to Earth that makes people curious. If the enemy, it stands to reason that Bupa could not have let them off twice. But if not the enemy, Bupa and Broly's behavior is completely villain's behavior. Purpose. Glancing at the three of Son Goku, Bupa raised the corner of his mouth and said, "There's no purpose. I just do it if I want to. Also, you can't stop me, so if you don't want to humiliate yourself, go back." Hearing this, Son Goku hasn't spoken yet, but Vegeta and Trunks beside him are glaring at Bupa. Just do it. With such a freewheeling mentality, the latter simply ignores them. The most important thing is that Bupa also robbed Bulma, and now he is still talking like this, which is obviously humiliating them. Broly. Almost instantly, Vegeta stepped forward and drank in a low voice, "Get out and die." While speaking, Vegeta directly entered the second stage of Super Saiyan. In an instant, Vegeta's chi rose rapidly, reaching 24 billion directly. What a horrible sense of oppression. What a terrible gas. This scene directly made Lazuli brothers and sisters, number 16 and number 21 exclaim, especially the Lazuli siblings. Unexpectedly, even after becoming a super android, the gap between himself and Vegeta and others would still be so huge. The most important thing is that Vegeta's breath at this moment has surpassed the breath of Bupa before. Of course, although Vegeta has become stronger, it is obviously not Broly's opponent. The terrifying coercion of the latter's super mode just made Lazuli and his brother tremble. Strength increased. Vegeta, it looks like you are floating. Seeing this scene, Broly raised the corners of his mouth, and then said disdainfully, "But do you really think that this improvement can help me?" With that said, Broly did not step forward, but turned to look at Bupa and said, "Brother, how about letting me teach them a lesson?" Can. Hearing this, Bupa nodded immediately. Son Goku's strength is good, but not enough to threaten Broly. On the contrary, the increase in strength of the three can completely become Broly's whetstone, and maybe Broly can continue to become stronger under the siege of the three. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, "Just take a breath." "Yes, sir." Hearing this, Broly grinned. Immediately afterwards, Broly stepped out, and when the angry state was activated, it immediately became 3 meters taller. In an instant, Broly's chi reached 520 million. Immediately afterwards, Broly stepped out again, and the whole person entered the super competition mode, and the combat power reached more than 25 billion. The next second, Broly and Vegeta's Kai collided. Rumbling, rumbling. The sound of thunder resounded, the whole island shook, and the endless tsunami swept through. It didn't even start, but it also made people feel the oppression of the doomsday. After a while, Vegeta groaned, and the whole body shook and took a few steps back. His combat power index is only more than 24 billion, which is completely incomparable to Broly. The gap of close to 1 billion combat power cannot be made up casually. Damn, he's getting stronger again. Why, this guy's power has increased so much all of a sudden. Seeing this, Trunks' face turned pale. He couldn't help clenching his fists. His eyes were full of disbelief. Not only him, even Vegeta was horrified at the moment. Broly, which used to have only more than 5 billion combat power before, has now increased nearly 5 times at once, which is incredible. Shenron. At this time, Son Goku seemed to have thought of something, and said with a serious face, "They summoned Shenron before. If nothing else, the reason why Broly's combat power has risen should be because of Shenron." "Vegeta, you can't fight alone now, or you're no match for him." Hearing this, Vegeta clenched her fists. As Son Goku's words woke up, he had already reacted. Only Shenron's wish can explain why Broly has increased so much combat power. But it was precisely because of this that he was even more aggrieved and unwilling in his heart. "I risked my life to drink the super divine water in exchange for my current combat power, and now I am not Broly's opponent, which is a shame. Dad, let me help you." At this time, Trunks let out a low growl, and the whole person also completed the Super Saiyan transformation. In the next second, Trunks' muscles grew, and his combat power reached nearly 20 billion. After arriving at Vegeta's side, Trunks also released the combination of their own power and Vegeta. A loud explosion resounded, and the auras of Broly, Vegeta and Trunks exploded at this moment. The three of them groaned. Fortunately, Broly only shook a few times, but Vegeta and Trunks also had a trace of blood spilling from the corners of their mouths. "Nice Broly, I will defeat you today." Taking a deep breath, Vegeta forcibly endured the suffocation and unwillingness in her heart, and then suddenly attacked Broly. Meanwhile, Trunks was unequivocal, and immediately followed Vegeta with a sword. In the next second, Vegeta and Trunks appeared in the area next to Broly and attacked him without hesitation. "Good come." Seeing this, Broly laughed, and without the slightest fear, he opened his bow from left to right, and punched and slapped straight towards Vegeta and Trunks. Bang 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 tilde. The sound of explosions continued. Broly fought 1 against 2, and a 3-person battle broke out, and the aftermath of terror spread and collapsed all around. With the passage of time, the battle of the 3 people directly entered the white-hot stage. Vegeta and Trunks teamed up to hold Broly down, and they kept getting the upper hand. Okay. Seeing this, Son Goku looked happy. Vegeta and Trunks suppressed Broly, which means that his next goal only needs to be locked on Bupa. As long as Bupa is defeated, all that should be over. Chapter 41 Son Goku's full power in the super game. Bupa's shot shocked the audience. Thinking of this, Son Goku immediately appeared in the area where Bupa was, and said, "Bupa, I don't think you are a bad person. Why don't you let Bulma and Piccolo go? How about we have a good talk? Since those androids have surrendered to you, I believe they won't be doing damage. There isn't much conflict and hostility between us. Why don't we just stop and make friends?" Son Goku is still kind-hearted. Whether it's against Vegeta, Frieza or the rest, the only one who can annihilate Son Goku without any hesitation is his eldest brother Raditz. "Do you think that's possible?" With an indifferent smile, Bupa glanced at Son Goku, and then said, "Kakarot, do you think your side has the chance to win? Or do you think you have the power to beat me and takes Bulma and Piccolo?" Hearing this, Son Goku frowned slightly. He couldn't see what Bupa's confidence was, but he also understood that there was no room for the two sides to turn around. After pondering for a while, Son Goku raised his head and said, "If that's the case, then I can only beat you. Bupa, let's fight." Saying that, Son Goku took 1 step forward, and instead of turning into a super attacked directly towards Bupa. Son Goku, I can't let you submit. However, before Bupa could act, the two figures jumped out first to block Son Goku. It can be seen that the Lazuli brothers and sisters launched the attack without hesitation at this moment, and Son Goku was directly sent flying out in just a few breaths. Son Goku, who has not transformed, has only 250 million combat power, and it is impossible to be the opponent of the Lazuli brothers and sisters. What a powerful force. Are you androids? No wonder Trunks said he is no match for you in the future. You are really so tough. Floating to the ground, Son Goku looked at the Lazuli siblings in surprise. In a short fight, he has also discovered that the Lazuli siblings have more than 1 billion battle power. Future? Hearing this, Lazuli frowned slightly, then said, the present is the present, the future is the future, and the two cannot be confused. Son Goku, we have an order to kill you in our program, and I just took this opportunity to try it out with you. Saying that, the Lazuli siblings no longer hesitated, and rushed out to attack Son Goku again. Although they had just gained the upper hand and even easily knocked Son Goku into the air, the Lazuli siblings did not dare to neglect. After all, Son Goku's Super Saiyan transformation has not yet been displayed, and it is still unknown who is stronger and who is weaker. All right, if that's the case, then we have to defeat you first. In response, Son Goku's expression sank slightly, but it was quickly replaced by firmness. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku clenched his fists sharply and exclaimed, "Ha!" The next second, the golden air rose into the sky, and Son Goku directly transformed into Super Saiyan. In an instant, Son Goku's combat power soared to 11 billion. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku easily avoided the attack of the Lazuli siblings. Bowing left and right, two punches slammed into the bodies of Lazuli and Lapis. Ah! With a scream, the Lazuli sisters and brothers were immediately sent flying, and they stopped after they crashed into dozens of trees. What a powerful force. Son Goku became so much stronger all at once. Seeing this, the expressions of number 16 and number 21 changed slightly. After all, in their profile, Son Goku shouldn't have such terrifying combat power. But now, they can't care so much anymore, and after looking at each other, they stepped forward and prepared to attack. After all, although the Lazuli siblings are not rivals, they are both Bupa's subordinates, and it is really impossible for Son Goku to face Bupa directly. Not only that, but the Lazuli siblings also flew back to the battlefield. Although he was a little embarrassed, he was not seriously injured. It can be seen that Son Goku's attack did not kill him. For a while, the eyes of the four androids were fixed on Son Goku, and they slowly stepped forward. Enough. You all leave. Seeing this, Bupa stopped the four Lazuli who were about to move. The gap between the two sides is too big, and the Lazuli siblings and number 21 have no chance of matching Son Goku unless they fully develop their potential. And the four of them were also very important to Bupa, and he didn't want to see them die here. Thinking of this, Bupa immediately said, "You can take care of Buma and Piccolo. Leave Son Goku to me next." "Yes, Lord Bupa." "Yes, it is good." With a promise, the four Lazuli stopped moving forward immediately. They can also see the gap between themselves and Son Goku, and there is no chance of winning if they continue to fight. Now Bupa had them back, which was clearly the best option. Thinking of this, the four of Lazuli quickly retreated, and after reaching the side of Buma and Piccolo, they grabbed them and retreated to a safe distance. Seeing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. With the protection of Lazuli and others, Buma will not have any accidents. It's up to him to fight Son Goku next. For Son Goku, Bupa takes it very seriously. After all, he is the protagonist of Dragon Ball, and he has completed Super Saiyan full power. Maybe he has the possibility of completing Super Saiyan 2. Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes flooded with fighting intent, and he stepped forward and said, "Come on, Son Goku. Defeat me and I'll give you both Buma and Piccolo. On the other hand, if you fail, you have to pay for your actions." Hearing this, Son Goku looked solemn. He understood what Bupa meant by this. After taking a deep breath, Son Goku immediately said with a fighting spirit, "If that's the case, then please enlighten me." After that, Son Goku stepped on the ground, and the whole person rushed towards the area where Bupa was like a streamer. Ha! Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and with a loud drink, he immediately activated Super Saiyan to transform. In the next second, the energy of Bupa's body surged, and his combat power directly reached 26 billion. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa raised his fist and slammed into Son Goku. Immediately afterwards, the two fists collided in midair. With a loud bang, Son Goku's body trembled. Blood gushed from the corner of his mouth, and the whole person was directly knocked out by Bupa's punch. When his body stabilized, Son Goku looked at Bupa in disbelief and said, "It's impossible. Your strength is so powerful, it's not inferior to Broly. How did the two of you cultivate, and why did you improve so much at once?" Chapter 42 Future Cell appears. Son Goku helps. No room for Son Goku not to be shocked. After all, he asked about Vegeta and Trunks when he came. The answer obtained, whether it is Bupa or Broly. The previous combat power is less than 600,000. But now, whether it's Bupa or Broly, the battle power of the two after their transformation has exceeded 20 billion. which is incredible. Nothing is impossible. Shrugging, Buppa glanced at Son Goku disapprovingly and said, in less than 2 days, Vegeta and Trunks have not improved their combat power as much. And your Son Goku has obviously become a lot stronger than a few days ago. Why, you are only allowed to become stronger, shouldn't I just stay where I am? As soon as these words came out, the audience fell silent. Son Goku opened his mouth a few times to say something, but he swallowed the words abruptly. As Buppa said, can no one but oneself be elevated? Thinking of this, Son Goku clenched his fists subconsciously, and then said, Buppa, you are really a difficult existence. If that's the case, then I. Just as Son Goku was about to go all out, a voice came, who? Get out of here. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that the Lazuli brothers and sisters, number 16 and number 21 are looking at an area. At this moment, immediately afterwards, the four raised their energy bombs and attacked an area. Rumbling, rumbling, the deafening roar resounded, and the mountains and forests in front were reduced to ruins under the ravages of energy bombs. It can be seen that a green figure suddenly sprang out, covered in blood and escaping continuously, aiming directly at the area outside the island. It's him. Future Cell. Seeing the figure, Buppa's eyes flashed, and he immediately said, System, check the Future Cell information. In the next second, the information of the Future Cell appeared in front of Buppa's eyes. Cell, race, android, combat power, 740 million. Ability, Kamehameha Wave, magic light cannon, solar flare. It sure is him. After reading the information, Buppa's eyes flashed coldly, and he immediately said, Lazuli, Lapis, you two will kill him quickly. This fellow is Cell from the future world. It is still in its original state. Killing him as soon as possible will not give him a chance to continue to evolve. Yes, yes. With a promise, the Lazuli siblings immediately understood who the figure was. Without the slightest hesitation, the Lazuli siblings rushed out to chase where the Future Cell was. In the next second, countless energy bombs descended, and all-round coverage followed in the direction where the Cell fled. Rumbling, rumbling, the deafening roar resounded, and the Future Cell fled in embarrassment under the attack of the Lazuli siblings. Damn, these guys actually evolved again. How could they have evolved to such a degree, and how can artificial humans evolve? At this moment, Future Cell's mentality collapsed. He thought that this time was a good opportunity from God, so he quietly sneaked into the island in order to devour them all at a time when Buppa, Broly, Son Goku, Vegeta and the Trunks all lost. But he never imagined that Buppa and the others had become so much stronger one by one. Especially after seeing Buppa's power, he was even more excited and revealed his own breath. This also led to the four Lazuli's awareness of his existence, and the attack without any greeting even caught him off guard and was seriously injured. Number 17. Number 18. Sooner or later I will devour you. Subconsciously turned his head and glanced at the Lazuli brothers and sisters who were chasing after him. Cell's eyes flashed with panic and anger, and then he speeded up his escape. What's the situation, Buppa? That guy named Cell is also an android? Seeing this scene, Son Goku was stunned and asked subconsciously, vaguely seeming to feel that something was wrong. Good. Casting a glance at Son Goku, Buppa said indifferently, that's the android Cell, the follower Trunks who came from the future. His goal is to devour the Lazuli siblings and evolve into perfection, thereby killing you and destroying the Earth. But unfortunately, it is still in its original form, and it is no match for Lazuli and Lapis at all. If nothing else, it will soon die at the hands of Lazuli and Lapis. I see. After listening to Buppa's remarks, Son Goku suddenly realized, but his gaze towards Buppa was even more kind. Regardless of Buppa's purpose and mind, at least the latter saved the Earth in disguise. Thinking of this, Son Goku only felt that he could still be rescued, and subconsciously said, Buppa, we. What? Before Son Goku could speak, two screams rang out. Looking at the sound, the silhouettes of Vegeta and Trunks fell from the sky, smashing to the ground and splashing a large piece of dust. In midair, Broly became more and more brave. In just over half an hour, his combat power increased by at least 3 or 4 million. This also led to the fact that even if Vegeta and Trunks teamed up, he couldn't help him, and he didn't even have much power to fight. Not good. Seeing this, Son Goku's face changed drastically. Vegeta and Trunks are in such a bad situation right now that if they don't come to support, the consequences will be unimaginable. For a while, Son Goku didn't care what to say to Buppa, and quickly pulled away and flew towards Broly. Did you go to the rescue? Seeing this, the corner of Buppa's mouth rose, and he did not continue to attack Son Goku. From start to finish, he never considered Son Goku his opponent. If he wanted to, he could just kill it in an instant. However, it is not in a hurry now. With the addition of Son Goku, Broly can fight better and inspire more potential and combat power. Thinking of this, Buppa's thoughts dissipated, and Super Saiyan transformed himself. He flew to the side of number 16 and others not far away, and said, Number 16, you can follow along and have a look. It's fine if the future Cell is killed, but if there is any accident, then bring Lazuli and Lapis back directly. Yes, Lord Buppa. Nodding, number 16 didn't understand why Buppa was so worried. With the future Cell's combat power of more than 700 million, it stands to reason that it is impossible for the Lazuli siblings to rival but he didn't refuse anything. After agreeing, he jumped up and chased the direction Lazuli and his brother left. Bupa. When number 16 left, number 21 frowned and said subconsciously, "Why don't you just kill Son Goku? With your power, you can easily kill it in seconds." Chapter 43 Broly 1 vs 3, The Battle of the Super Competition. Hearing this, Bupa cast a glance at number 21. Bupa understands her hatred of Son Goku. After all, it was Son Goku who destroyed the Red Ribbon Legion, which led to the 21st. Dr. Ron and others were all implicated. "I have my own plans." But Bupa didn't mean to explain anything to number 21, and said indifferently, "Number 21, remember your identity." Cut. Hearing this, number 21 pouted, his eyes full of unwillingness. But she also understands that she is not Bupa's opponent, nor is Son Goku's opponent now. In desperation, number 21 turned his gaze to where Broly was in the arena, and said to himself, "I hope Broly can kill Son Goku." Bupa didn't care. He doesn't care how number 21 is thinking. The latter's existence is only a step in his completion of the artificial Saiyan plan. If 21 has any other mind, kill it. 16 can be perfect enough to get all her knowledge. Broly. At this moment, Son Goku's low growl resounded. It can be seen that his figure has arrived in the battlefield, and he immediately activated the full power state with a loud drink. In the next second, Son Goku's own strength quietly increased, and the basic combat power was increased by 80 times in the full power state. This also led to Son Goku's anger reaching 20 billion instantly at this moment. With one punch, Son Goku blasted Broly out with all his strength. Kakarot. Goku uncle. This scene immediately stunned Vegeta and Trunks on the ground. Unexpectedly, Son Goku's power has increased so much at once. A full 20 billion combat power. Although not as good as Vegeta, don't forget that Son Goku's basic combat power is only 250 million, while Vegeta has a full 400 million. Kakarot. Almost instantly, Vegeta rushed up and asked, "What's the situation? Why has your power increased so much?" "It's also the Super Saiyan transformation. Why your transformation has improved so much." Apostrophe. As soon as these words came out, Trunks also looked at Son Goku curiously. "It's Super Saiyan full power." Hearing this, Son Goku didn't sell anything, and quickly explained, "This is the realm that Gohan and I have cultivated in the time house. In the state of full power, my combat power can be increased by 80 times. So I can have such a combat power. Super Saiyan full power. Increase the combat power 80 times. Hearing this, Vegeta twitched the corners of her mouth and looked at Son Goku with envy. "I thought that I had surpassed Son Goku after drinking the super divine water, but I never imagined that such a thing would happen." Son Goku completed the full power of Super Saiyan one step ahead, and it does not seem to consume much, which is not comparable to the second stage of his Super Saiyan. Goku uncle is amazing. Trunks sighed, his eyes full of envy and yearning. After all, he didn't understand the concept of full power at all, but he suddenly increased his combat power by 80 times without any side effects. Kakarot. At this moment, Broly's low roar resounded. After seeing Son Goku, Broly's whole body was instantly excited. The next second, Broly's chi surge instantly increased, and then he attacked Son Goku in a different way. Broly. Seeing this situation, Son Goku didn't even bother to talk to Vegeta and his son, and said with a serious face, "This time I will definitely defeat you." Vegeta, Trunks, let's go together. If you can't beat Broly, you can't beat Bupa to save Bulma and Piccolo. After saying that, Son Goku jumped out to meet Broly. The next second, the two figures collided in midair. Numerous fist shadows emerged, and Son Goku and Broly fought directly together. Bang bang bang. The sound of the explosion kept resounding, and it was clear that Broly was getting stronger and stronger, while Son Goku was obviously overwhelmed. After all, the difference in combat power between the two sides is billions, and it cannot be made up for casually. Trunks, let's go together. Seeing this, Vegeta's eyes flashed with determination, and without any hesitation, he hurried toward the arena. "Okay, Dad." Seeing this situation, Trunks did not dare to neglect, and immediately followed with his sword. In the next second, the four figures were fighting together in the arena. Under the siege of Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks, Rao and Broly all started to retreat at this moment. Although his strength surpassed that of the three, he did not have much resistance in the face of a three-person siege. In a short period of time, Broly's injury increased to 3 points, while Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks' offensive intensified without any trend of stopping. "No, Broly is going to lose." Seeing this situation, number 21's pupils shrank, and he said subconsciously, "Bupa, don't you want to support him? If it fails, Broly will die." Defeat. Hearing this, Bupa glanced at number 21 in surprise, and then said, "You forgot about Broly's previous state." Super Saiyan transformation. This is the strongest transformation for ordinary Saiyan. But Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan, and his strongest transformation is the Super Saiyan mode, not the Super Saiyan form. "What?" Exclamation mark. Hearing this, number 21's body trembled, his eyes widened to look at Bupa, and the scene of Broly's super transmission mode appeared subconsciously in his mind. In the next second, the worried expression on number 21's face eased, and he murmured, I didn't expect that form to be stronger than Super Saiyan. Bupa. At this time, Bulma asked worriedly, how strong is the so-called super transmission mode? Not only him, including number 21 and Piccolo, who was bound on the ground, also showed curiosity. Transmit super mode. They had seen it before, and they knew the terrifying aura of Broly's form. But for them, there is no concept, and now they want to know it from Bupa's mouth. How strong? Glancing at the three of Bupa, Bupa raised the corner of his mouth and said, Super Saiyan mode. That is the exclusive transformation of the legendary Super Saiyan. The normal Super Saiyan transformation only has a 50-fold increase in combat power. Vegeta and Trunks Super Saiyan's second-order transformation has increased its combat power by 60 times. The full power of Son Goku's Super Saiyan is 80 times more powerful. Once you complete the transformation of Quinkao mode, you can directly increase the basic combat power by 100 times. Chapter 44 Super Broly, Complete Cell. What? 100 times. Hearing this, Bulma and Piccolo were dumbfounded. Number 21 also couldn't help twitching the corners of his mouth. The Quinjao mode can actually increase the combat power by 100 times, which is simply incredible. Ha! At this moment, Broly's violent shouts resounded quietly in the arena. The next second, the island shook, with the grass green air rising into the sky. Broly's height of about 3 meters increased by another 20 centimeters. At the same time, Broly's hair turned green, and the whole person entered the super transmission mode. At this moment, Broly's chi swept the world, directly reaching the level of more than 50 billion Kakarot. After the transformation, Broly let out a loud snort and punched Son Goku directly in the face. What? With a scream, Son Goku was caught off guard, and the whole person was slapped and flew out. Kakarot. Goku uncle. Seeing this scene directly, Vegeta and Trunks' eyes widened, their faces filled with disbelief and horror. However, before they could recover, Broly's attack came again. With one punch, Broly directly knocked Vegeta and Trunks into the air. There were two loud bangs, and the dust rose into the sky. It could be seen that Vegeta and Trunks were also lying on the ground, spitting blood from their mouths, and their faces turned pale. So strong. How can it be so powerful? Broly in super mode actually defeated Son Goku with just one blow. Watching this scene in a daze, on the 21st, both Bulma and Piccolo were stunned, their eyes filled with unbelievable colors. Powerful. It is too strong. In super mode, Broly is like an invincible god of war. What is that? How can it be so powerful? At this time, Son Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks stood up with each other's support, swallowed a fairy bean with difficulty to recover from their injuries, and stared at Broly, not daring to move rashly. One punch. Just one punch made them experience near-death danger, especially the transformation of the grass-green air, which made Son Goku and the three of them puzzled. Kakarot. At this time, Broly looked at the three people in the arena and said indifferently, come on, keep fighting. If you can't defeat me today, then only death awaits you. Saying that, Broly attacked the three of Son Goku directly. Not good. Seeing this, the expressions of the three Son Goku changed drastically. Having experienced the horror of Quinjao Broly, the three of them have no confidence to contend with it at this moment. Facing the attacking Broly, the three of Son Goku gritted their teeth and stepped forward again, but there was some withdrawal in their hearts. Not that they are afraid to fight. The Broly in front of him is really too strong, even more terrifying than Bupa. Under such circumstances, if they fought to the death, they would surely die here today. Although they are not afraid of death, they do not want to die like this. At least they have to rescue Bulma and Piccolo first. The next second, the four figures fought together again. This time, however, the situation was completely reversed. In the super form, Broly didn't even bother to defend anything, and directly ignored the attack of the three Son Goku with his strong defense. Conversely, each of his attacks was a mortal threat to the Son Goku trio. Dodging again and again, I didn't even dare to confront it, let alone let it hit me. The gap is too big. It's not a class at all. Seeing this situation, number 21 swallowed his saliva, his eyes full of horror. Is this the legendary Super Saiyan? The same Saiyan. The two are not on the same level at all. This remark immediately aroused the approval of Bulma and Piccolo. Even if they are enemies, Piccolo has to admit that the current Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks are not his opponents. Bupa. At this moment, Bulma seemed to have thought of something, and subconsciously looked at Bupa and said, you are Broly's big brother. Are you also the legendary Super Saiyan? As soon as these words came out, both number 21 and Piccolo looked at Bupa in amazement. If Bupa is also the legendary Super Saiyan, how terrible would his power be? Even definitely surpasses the Broly in front of me. After all, the basic combat power of the two is not the same grade at all. Good. Glancing at Bupa said indifferently, I am indeed the legendary Super Saiyan too. As soon as these words came out, number 21 swallowed and looked at Bupa with hot eyes. Such a powerful Bupa is also the legendary Super Saiyan, which means that he has not used his full strength from beginning to end. Isn't such a powerful man what all women dream of? Not only number 21, but also Bulma's eyes are a little dazed at the moment, and the already complicated look is obviously more worshipped at this moment. Seeing the three people's reactions, Bupa smiled lightly and did not continue to say anything to them. but muttered to himself. But I can't perform super transformation and anger transformation. If I want to complete the promotion of Quinkao's bloodline, it depends on whether Broly can continue to improve his bloodline. If his bloodline goes further, then I can truly become Quinkao. Beep tilde. Just then, the phone rang. Looking at the reputation, number 21 quickly took out a messenger and said, Lazuli, what's the matter? On the 21st, let Bupa come and support us. There is another cell, and it's still a complete cell. The three of us are not opponents at all. And the original cell was also swallowed by this guy. And now he wants to swallow us. What? Another cell appeared. Hearing this, number 21 was completely dumbfounded and said in disbelief, how is that possible? Isn't there only one cell in the future? Apostrophe. Not only her, but also Bulma and Piccolo were full of astonishment. This sudden change is simply unbelievable, and even some can't react. I see. At this time, Bupa stepped forward to grab the communicator and said, you release your chi, and I'll rush over immediately. It is good. With a promise, Lazuli did not continue to speak. Immediately afterward, Bupa felt the air of Lazuli, Lapis and number 16 quietly intensifying in the area thousands of miles away. Number 21, be optimistic about them. Without hesitation, Bupa jumped up and galloped towards the area where the three of Lazuli were. At the same time, on a desert island thousands of miles away, the complete cell devoured the original cell. Immediately afterwards, his eyes turned to the three of Lazuli, and the corners of his mouth raised. Long time no see. Number 16, number 17, number 18. Chapter 45 Lapis's self-sacrifice, Cell's powerful spike. Hearing this, the three of Lazuli took a step back subconsciously. For the complete body cell in front of them, their hearts are full of fear at the moment. The Lazuli brothers and sisters had already realized that the combat power of the guy in front of them was extremely terrifying, not even inferior to Bupa. Now this guy has swallowed the original cell again, and his own chi has been strengthened again. If the complete cell in front of him wants to continue to attack, then the three of Lazuli are not his opponents, and they may even be completely swallowed by him. Cell. Taking a deep breath, Lapis calmed down first and asked, how did you evolve into a complete body? The information recorded by Dr. Jiro, you must devour me and number 18 to complete the evolution. But in the future, you haven't managed to swallow number 17 and number 18 at all. How can you reach such a point? As soon as these words came out, Lazuli and number 16 also looked at Cell curiously. He was puzzled about his completion of the complete body. Who said I didn't devour the future of you? With the corners of his mouth up, Cell glanced at the three of Lazuli before saying, in the future, Trunks killed 17 and 18. Unfortunately, he only killed 18th and 17th, but he didn't destroy your bodies. This also gave me the opportunity to complete the complete body after swallowing your corpses. Then I killed the Trunks and all the humans in the future universe, and then rode the time machine to this era in order to completely kill Son Goku and complete the final program set by Dr. Jiro within me. Having said that, Cell looked at number 16, number 17 and number 18 in surprise and said, but in the memory of future Trunks, you should not be so strong. Why has your strength increased so much? Hiss. Hearing this, the Lazuli took a step back. Judging from Cell's description, they already fully understood what was going on. This is the cell that arrived here from the future. Unlike the previous cell, which was smuggled with Trunks from the future world, it is still in its original form. This cell has completely completed the evolution of the complete body, and even its strength has reached an extremely terrifying level. Cell. Subconsciously, number 16 then asked, since you are already a complete body, does that mean that you don't need to take action against Lazuli sisters and brothers? As soon as these words came out, the Lazuli siblings also looked at Cell, feeling quite nervous. In the current situation, they are not their opponents. The only hope is that Bupa has not yet arrived. If Cell really wants to do it, the consequences will be disastrous. Complete body. With a grin, Cell glanced at number 16 and said, if it was before, then I really don't care about all this. But now it's completely different. After devouring this clone, I found that my ability has been improved again. And number 17 and number 18 actually turned into super androids, which means that if you devour you, then I can go further beyond the existence of the complete body. Looking forward to it. I really look forward to it too much. At this moment, Cell's eyes were full of heat and greed. I thought that the complete body was my limit, but I didn't expect to be able to continue to evolve. This is definitely a fatal temptation for him. However, he was not in a hurry. The current Lazuli siblings and number 16 were almost turtles in a urn, and there was no possibility of escaping. With his strength, he can completely ignore the threat of number 16 and others, so he doesn't mind wasting a little time. After all, this is a miracle about his continued evolution, which is definitely good news. Damn. Hearing this, Lazuli's faces turned ashen. Although they had already guessed that the latter would not let him and others go, but when Cell told it himself, their hearts were still full of despair. Number 16. Take my sister away. At this moment, Lapis suddenly burst into drink. I saw that he raised his hand suddenly, and countless Kaio-Ken bullets swept out, attacking Cell continuously. Walk. Almost instantly, number 16 understood what Lapis wanted to do. grabbed Lazuli who hadn't reacted yet and pulled back. No. Seeing this, Lazuli's expression changed drastically. She already understood what Lapis wanted to do, the latter intending to sacrifice himself to protect her. For a while, Lazuli had tears in his eyes, and subconsciously wanted to struggle to go to support. However, before Lazuli could act, number 16 was the first to seal her anger and said, "Number 18, you just let him sacrifice in vain in the past. Only by finding Bupa can he defeat Cell and save number 17. Hearing this, Lazuli fell silent. Although she didn't want to accept it, she also understood that this was the case, and now her power has been sealed, which also causes her to have almost no resistance. Call out! Call out! In the blink of an eye, the figure of number 16 with Lazuli dashed towards the island where Bupa was located. Want to escape? Cell saw this scene, and the cold murderous intent poured out from his whole body, and said, "Number 18, I won't let you escape." After that, Cell stepped forward to pursue. "Cell, your opponent is me." Before Cell could act, Lapis's roar resounded. It can be seen that the countless Kaio-Ken bullets in his hands are attacking the Cell again. Because of the existence of the infinite energy furnace, he does not care about the consumption. As long as he persists for a while, even if Bupa doesn't show up in the future, at least he can buy enough time for Lazuli to escape. Rumbling, rumbling. The explosion resounded, the dust rose, and the figure of Cell walked out of it. Lapis' attack had no effect on him. But even so, it still made Cell feel uncomfortable. His eyes locked on Lapis, and he said coldly, "Number 17, since you are courting death, then I will devour you first. Come on, let me see how much increase you can bring to me after you evolve into a super android after being devoured by me. Beyond the existence of the complete body, I will evolve into an unprecedented ultimate humanoid, and I will also be the most powerful existence in the entire universe." Saying that, Cell jumped out and arrived at the area where Lapis was located almost instantly. Without the slightest hesitation, Cell slammed Lapis's belly with a punch. What? The screams resounded, and Lapis simply couldn't resist the blow of Cell's more than 20 billion combat power. Blood spurted out of the entire mouth, and his body arched like a prawn. After shaking a few times, he immediately passed out. Chapter 46 Rescue Lapis, God-level infinite energy furnace. Call out! Call out! On the sea at the other end, number 16 took Lazuli's rapid advance. At this moment, a sound of breaking through the air came quietly. Looking around, I could see Bupa's figure hurriedly approaching, and soon followed to the area in front of Lazuli and number 16. Number 16, Lazuli. Seeing the two, Bupa immediately appeared in front of them and asked, "Where's Lapis? Why isn't he with you?" At this moment, Bupa's heart was quite heavy. After all, according to his memory, the combat power of a complete body cell is around 20 billion. But now the whole body cell will swallow the 19th, 20th and the original cell. In this case, his strength is bound to increase a lot again. Even Bupa has no absolute certainty to defeat him. If Lapis is now devoured by it, the consequences are absolutely unimaginable. Bupa. Seeing Bupa appearing in front of him, Lazuli's eyes lit up in an instant, and he hurriedly pleaded without caring for others, "Bupa, please save Lapis. Please save my brother." At this moment, Lazuli couldn't hold back. In order for Lapis to survive and face the terrifying complete body cell, this is definitely an unacceptable thing for Lazuli. "Do not worry, I will save Lapis." Glancing at Lazuli, Bupa nodded and said, "Number 16, tell me the exact location." "Yes." With a promise, number 16 did not dare to neglect, and immediately told Bupa the coordinates of the previous island. After getting the coordinates, Bupa no longer hesitated, and immediately accelerated towards the island. Woo! Seeing this, Lazuli breathed a sigh of relief. In her opinion, although the full body cell is strong, Bupa is definitely not weak. Under such circumstances, as long as Bupa goes, there is a certain possibility that Lapis can be rescued. Thinking of this, Lazuli turned to look at number 16 and said, "Number 16, the power to unlock my seal. Bupa has gone, and will go with it. If he can't deal with it, then it doesn't make any sense for us to run away." "It is good." Hearing this, number 16 pondered a little, and soon nodded in agreement. As Lazuli said, if Bupa can't solve it, then there is no point in their running away, and sooner or later they will be found and devoured by the complete cell. Immediately, number 16 unlocked Lazuli's seal. Immediately afterwards, the two no longer hesitated, and quickly chased Bupa's figure and dared to ask the island where Lapis was. Number 17, be a part of me. On the island, Cell glanced at Lapis, who was already unconscious on the ground, the corners of his mouth raised slightly and his tail raised up behind him. With the rapid expansion of the tail, it fell on Lapis's body without hesitation, and began to continuously absorb it into the body. Cut. Seeing that the figure of Lapis will be completely absorbed through the tail, a low roar quietly resounds. In the next second, golden air pierced through the sky. Puff. Blood splattered, Cell's tail snapped, blood splattered, and the unconscious Lapis also fell from it and smashed to the ground, but the whole person also followed suit crossing. This is, feeling pain and weakness all over, Lapis opened his eyes with difficulty. Looking up, he could see that Bupa's figure appeared in the area in front of him. At this moment, he was standing in the same place with one hand in the posture of a knife, golden air spewing and blood stains constantly overflowing. Bupa, his pupils shrank, and Lapis shook his body and said, "You are finally here." Ding. Lapis's loyalty reaches 90, and the tenfold return ability is successfully activated. Ding. Check that Lapis is carrying an infinite energy furnace, and return it 10 times. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a god-level infinite energy furnace. The system beeps loudly. What? Brows raised, and there was a hint of surprise in Bupa's eyes. Unexpectedly, his help not only saved Lapis, but also made his loyalty jump to the point of being a die-hard god-level infinite energy furnace. With this thing, my evolutionary chi will hardly be exhausted, and I can even keep it in its peak state forever. This is really a pleasant surprise. The infinite energy furnace of the artificial man, and the level is still the highest. If it is studied and understood, it can even be improved for the Lazuli siblings, number 16, number 21 and later artificial Saiyan. At this moment, Bupa was in a good mood, turned his head and glanced at Lapis and said, "Lapis, just leave it to me next. Go and rest for a while." Yes. With a promise, Lapis did not refuse. He knew very well what his state was. And he knew even more that he was not Cell's opponent. Although he was angry in his heart, and even wanted to slash the Cell with thousands of pieces, Lapis also knew that now was not the time. Thinking of this, Lapis struggled to stand up and walk towards the back. "Bastard, who are you?" At this moment, Cell's angry roar resounded. "A broken tail is nothing, he can quickly repair it." But Bupa prevented him from devouring Lapis, which made Cell extremely uncomfortable, especially after he felt that the Bupa in front of him was also Saiyan. The anger and murderous intent in his heart could not be concealed. "I?" Glancing at Cell, Bupa said indifferently, "I am the one who killed you." System, show me the information of the Cell in front of me. In the next second, Cell's information will appear. Cell, race, android, form, super perfect body. Combat power, 28 billion. 28 billion. Fortunately I stopped him. Otherwise I'm afraid I really can't help him. After reading Cell's information, Bupa's mouth twitched, and a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. After swallowing a Cell, this guy's power suddenly increased by 8 billion. The main thing is that he also went from a perfect to a super perfect. This also means that once the current Cell completely completes the lightning state, it is likely to exceed 80 billion combat power. In this case, Bupa's strength is obviously insufficient, and even Broly may not be able to get him. The only way is to eliminate it as soon as possible without giving it a chance to evolve into a lightning Cell. Or maybe Broly can get a big boost again in the battle against Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks. Otherwise the consequences will be unimaginable. "Kill me?" With a cold smile, Cell's eyes overflowed with murderous intent. "Saiyan, you are so loud. Although you are not the target of my hunt, I can sentence you to death just by what you just said." Chapter 47 Advanced Regeneration, Bupavs Cell. Saying that, Cell stomped on the ground and attacked Bupa like a shooting star. "It's good to come." Seeing this, Bupa was not afraid at all. Although the battle between the two was more than 2 billion different, he did not think that he would fail. Ha! With a low roar, Bupa burst out with all his aura, and the whole person jumped out and fought with Cell. Bang bang bang. The sound of the fist hitting the flesh resounded, and under Cell's pressure, Bupa only felt his blood boil. As the battle intensified, the entire island was rapidly collapsing, and Bupa's anger was also rapidly rising. "Call out! Call out!" At this time, two air-breaking sounds came. It can be seen that the figures of Lazuli and number 16 came in a hurry, and soon reached the island. Lapis. For the first time, Lazuli noticed the weak Lapis on the ground. A surprise flashed in his eyes, and his heart was full of excitement. Unexpectedly, Bupa actually rescued Lapis. For a time, Lazuli's approval for Bupa soared rapidly. Ding. Binding mission loyalty reaches 90, triggering 10 times the return ability. The system beeps loudly. Bupa, who was fighting with Cell, had a flash of light in his eyes, and said excitedly, "It's done." Sure enough, this rescue is effective. The loyalty of the Lazuli brothers and sisters has reached the level of loyalty, and they will continue to improve in the future, so I can also get 10 times the blessing. Thinking of this, Bupa looked forward to this reward while responding to the Cell's attack. After all, Lazuli's loyalty reaches 90, so he can also take this opportunity to get a chance to be rewarded. Ding. Detect that Lazuli contains the power of regeneration, and it will be triggered by 10 times the return. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the advanced regeneration ability. Advanced regeneration? Brows raised, and there was a hint of surprise in Bupa's eyes. The reward this time is really beyond his expectations. Advanced regeneration. This ability is completely the immortal body of the reduced version. It can be said that unless his head is completely blown, even if his heart is pierced, Bupa can complete the recovery in a short time. Battle. For a moment, Bupa's eyes gushed with fighting intent. With the advanced regeneration ability, he immediately abandoned his defense and started to confront Cell. Bang bang bang. For a time, countless fists attacked Bupa, and it could be seen that his flesh burst and blood splattered. On the contrary, Bupa's attack also fell on Cell's body. For a time, Cell's body was also bursting rapidly, and the two were like madmen who only attacked but did not defend, a posture that would never give up until they killed each other. Lapis. At this time, Lazuli and number 16 had hurriedly arrived at the area beside Lapis. Reaching out to help him up, Lazuli asked, "Are you alright?" "No problem." Waving his hand, Lapis stared at Bupa and Cell standing in a ball at this moment, his eyes full of yearning. The strength of the two of them made him long for it in his heart. It is a pity that although he is a super android, he has no possibility of being promoted to such a level. Thinking of this, Lapis subconsciously looked at number 16 next to him and said, "Number 16, Lazuli and I have both fused cells. It stands to reason that we also have a growth ability that is not inferior to his, right?" As soon as these words came out, Lazuli also looked at number 16. As Lapis said, the two of them also have cells. Although there is some difference, it is logically impossible to be much inferior to the latter. Now that Cell has burst out with such terrifying power, does that mean that his siblings can also reach such a level? Good. In this regard, number 16 did not hide it, and said indifferently, "You do have growth that is not inferior to Cell." Number 21's research on cell technology is not inferior to that of Dr. Jiro, but the two of you cannot evolve into a complete body like Cell, nor can you find anything suitable to help you evolve. Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings nodded. At the same time, there was a trace of fiery and eagerness in the eyes of the two of them at the moment. Although there is no way to do it now, what if artificial humans are being created? If number 21 can create an artificial human that can help his siblings evolve, can they also go a step further? And many more. Suddenly, Lapis seemed to think of something, turned his head sharply to look at number 16 and said, "Number 16, if Lazuli and I devour another self, can we also improve again?" "The other one?" Hearing this, Lazuli's body shuddered. Immediately afterwards, Cell's previous words also appeared in her mind. He seems to have swallowed a number 17 and number 18 of the future world. If he can defeat the other two, can he save the other two? If so, can they devour their future selves as well? It's theoretically possible. After a little pondering, number 16 looked at the Lazuli siblings and said, "However, whether it can be completed or not depends on whether Bupa can defeat Cell and even save Nose 17 and 18 in the future world." Hearing this, the Lazuli siblings nodded. Immediately afterwards, the three quickly flew into the air, and after leaving the island, they did not leave but watched the battle between Bupa and Cell from a distance. By now, the three of them knew very well that if Bupa couldn't do anything to Cell, then they wouldn't have any chance of surviving. Bang bang bang. Under the gaze of the three of Lazuli, the battle between Bupa and Cell has also reached a fever pitch. The injuries on both sides became more and more serious, but the resilience of the two was equally matched. Coupled with the existence of the infinite energy furnace, there was almost no damage, and they were still at their peak. But at this moment, Bupa is also more and more brave, and the power of the super bloodline broke out. With repeated injuries and recovery, his strength has also increased to nearly 10 million. Coupled with the increase in Super Saiyan's transformation form, his combat power has increased by a full 500 million in just half an hour. And this is still from Bupa's own cultivation, as well as the combat power returned after Broly's promotion. Although Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks can't pose too much threat to Broly, Broly's power in transmissible super mode is constantly improving. Under such circumstances, Bupa's combat power soon reached around 27 billion. Under such circumstances, the pressure Cell put on him became less and less, and the battle between the two sides became more and more intense, and even the aftermath that broke out has already shattered the entire island. Damn, you are practicing with me, apostrophe. After another hour or so, Cell finally realized something was wrong, staring at Bupa gnashing his teeth, full of anger and panic. Chapter 48 Double Kaio-Ken, Cell Self-Destruct. At this moment, Cell had clearly felt that Bupa's power was not inferior to himself, and even vaguely stronger than himself. It was self-evident, but Cell couldn't accept it either. "I am super perfect. It's a shame to be considered as a partner now. Has it been discovered?" Hearing this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, showing a hint of playfulness. "Unfortunately, you found out too late. I originally planned to continue to play with you, but now it seems that there is no need for it." "What? He has other cards." Hearing this, Cell's pupils shrank, and a trace of unease suddenly appeared in his eyes. Subconsciously, Cell pulled back and planned to escape. The Bupa in front of him was too weird, which made Cell feel a strong sense of unease. "Want to go?" Seeing this, the corners of Bupa's mouth rose, and then he said, "I'm not giving you a chance, Cell. Let you see what real power is." Double Kaio-Ken ha! In the next second, Bupa's whole body glowed with crimson brilliance, doubled the Kaio-Ken's activation, and his combat power of about 28 billion soared to 56 billion in an instant. Immediately afterwards, Bupa jumped out to reach the area in front of Cell, and without the slightest hesitation, punched him in the stomach. "What?" The screams resounded, and Cell's body was bent, his face was hideous, and his mouth was wide open, and blood was constantly spurting out. One strike, with just one blow, Cell is unbearable, and even the whole person has a tendency to collapse. So strong. What a terrible power. Seeing this, The Lazuli siblings and number 16 subconsciously exclaimed on the sea in the distance, looking at Bupa with incredible eyes. Unexpectedly, Bupa still has such a whole card. Kaio-Ken. Isn't that a fighter coincidence mastered by Son Goku? Why does Bupa do it? And his combat power is doubled all of a sudden, so Cell is no longer his opponent. Good chance. Almost instantly, Lazuli said excitedly, Master Bupa, please also type out the 17th and 18th in Cell. Number 17 and 18? Raising his brows, Bupa gave Lazuli a thoughtful look, knowing what she was thinking. If the devoured future number 17 and number 18 are knocked out of the cell, the latter's complete body will be completely destroyed. At the same time, if the Lazuli brothers and sisters devoured future world number 17 and number 18, their strength would also be greatly improved. The most important thing is that now the loyalty of the Lazuli siblings has reached 90, and they can return 10 times their combat power. This also means that as long as the Lazuli brothers and sisters devour number 17 and number 18, his strength will be greatly enhanced again. It is good. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa nodded immediately. Immediately afterwards, Bupa no longer hesitated, raised his fist again, frantically attacked Cell's stomach area. What? For a while, the screams kept resounding, and the mighty super perfect Cell became a living target at this moment, and was hanged back and forth by Bupa in midair. As time passed, Cell's screams became weaker and weaker, and it could be seen that his body was twisted at this moment. Immediately afterwards, something bulged in the area of Cell's tail, and it could be seen that the two figures were spit out directly. Impressively, those were the 17th and 18th of the future world. It's done. Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed, and he immediately reached out and grabbed the two fainted figures, and without hesitation threw them to where the Lazuli siblings and number 16 were in the distance, and said, take them back and wait for me first. I'll go back after I've dealt with Cell. Yes. As soon as they agreed, the three of Lazuli did not dare to neglect. They grabbed the future number 17 and number 18 in a coma, and immediately sped away into the distance. They all knew that without the two of them, the Cell would go mad, and even launch a counterattack on the deathbed. Under such circumstances, it is dangerous for them to continue to stay, and only Bupa can solve this. No. Seeing Lazuli and the others leave in a hurry, Cell now cried out in pain. It can be seen that the breath around his body is rapidly wilting, and it has dropped to 20 billion in just a few breaths. Without the future 17th and 18th, Cell's combat power dropped by a full 8 billion. But what surprised Lapis was that even though he spat out the future number 17 and number 18, the Cell in front of him still maintained the appearance of a complete body. Damn Saiyan, I want you to die with me. Suddenly, Cell roared violently. In the next second, his entire body swelled violently, and an extremely terrifying chi began to gather. Surprisingly, the mad Cell is about to explode at the moment. With his self-destruction of 20 billion combat power, let alone Bupa, even the entire Earth will be affected. Blow yourself up? Want to use this to kill me? Seeing this, Bupa was thoughtful. He knew that Cell would not die by self-destruction. As long as his core chip still existed, it could be resurrected again. Said to be self-destruction, in fact, it was all the means by which this complete Cell wanted to win. After all, he was Frieza's cells in his body and can survive in the sky. But I'm not Son Goku, and I won't give you that chance. The corners of his mouth rose, and Bupa's whole body appeared in the place where Cell was after the swelling. Go. Without the slightest hesitation, Bupa kicked out, and Cell's huge body was directly kicked out of the Earth's atmosphere by him, thus entering the universe. The next second, the sound of breaking the air resounded. Bupa took off rapidly, and the whole person came to the edge of the atmosphere, his eyes locked on the floating Cell, and the corner of his mouth raised. Cell, I hope you don't let me down. Final flash ha. While speaking, Bupa brought his hands together, and finally the flash burst out of the air under his control and bombarded the Cell's body directly. Rumbling, a deafening explosion resounded, and it could be seen that Cell's body was completely destroyed. The entire universe shook, and Cell's body had turned to dust at this moment. But Bupa also understands that this Cell is not completely dead. While his final flash was enough to wipe it out, Bupa couldn't really choose to die with it in the latter's self-exploding inflated form. Now that Cell has been smashed into pieces, it is no surprise that he will recover himself in a dark area, and his strength will be greatly enhanced by then, and he may even evolve directly into a lightning Cell. But Bupa didn't care about it either. What happened to the lightning Cell didn't mean anything to him. Chapter 49 Super 2 Son Goku, Devouring the Future number 17 and no. 18. Cell. I hope you can bring me more fun. With a flash of light in his eyes, Bupa took a deep look at the flesh and blood floating in the universe, turned around and returned to Earth. Although he can also completely destroy the Cell directly, but Bupa does not intend to do so. Not just because the lightning Cell is difficult to completely eliminate, the main thing is that he needs to go back and figure out what will happen to the Lazuli brothers and sisters after swallowing the next 17th and 18th. If they can continue to improve after re-evolving, then lightning Cell is obviously a good tool. As long as the lightning Cell is swallowed, the combat power of Lazuli and Lapis will increase by at least 60 billion. If it is returned tenfold at that time, then Bupa will be able to increase its combat power by 100 billion at once. Once it reaches 100 billion combat power, even if it is only in the form of Super Saiyan 1, he can still have about 5 trillion combat power. You must know that even in the period of the Bbook, a combat power of around 5 trillion was considered a top existence. This also means that in the next few years Bupa does not need to worry about threats from Son Goku, Vegeta and others. And after he has enough combat power, he can also take this opportunity to find out if there are such existences as gods of destruction and angel in universe. Bupa, you wait for me. Next time, I will definitely kill you completely. As Bupa returned to Earth, the resentful voice of Cell resounded quietly in the universe at this moment. It can be seen that the countless flesh and blood began to slowly gather, and the cell's regeneration ability started to repair itself. For all this, Bupa does not know. At this moment, he has returned to the Earth, and the whole person also flew back to the island where Broly and others were. Bang bang bang. With Bupa's return, Son Goku and Broly's battle can be seen intensifying. On top of that, Vegeta and Trunks are crippled and crippled. At this moment, Son Goku has completed the transformation of Super Saiyan 2, and his combat power has increased to about 30 billion directly. Although it is still not as good as the more than 50 billion Broly in Quincal mode, there is still a battle between the two. It's just that Son Goku's state is getting worse and worse. If there is no accident, the victory or defeat will soon follow. Bupa, Master Bupa. At this time, several voices came. Looking at the reputation, it can be seen that Lazuli and others have returned to the island, and they are standing in the area where Buma and others are waving. Seeing this situation, Bupa also withdrew his gaze, and with the corners of his mouth raised, he floated to the side of Buma and the others. After floating to the ground, Bupa looked at the Lazuli siblings and said, "How can you devour the future number 17 and number 18?" As soon as these words came out, the Lazuli siblings did not answer, and looked at number 21 on the side subconsciously. Obviously, the Lazuli siblings didn't know what the outcome was at the moment, and they didn't tell them directly on the 21st. Okay, facing the eyes of everyone, number 21 did not dare to neglect at this moment, and immediately stepped forward. According to my test just now, then number 17 and number 18 in the future have the same origin as them. If Lazuli devours number 17 and Lapis devours number 18, then their strength will be greatly improved again. Very good. Hearing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. It can really be swallowed. After swallowing the future number 17 and number 18, the Lazuli siblings will have to increase their combat power by at least hundreds of millions, or even close to 1 billion. In this way, if you get 10 times the return, you can increase your combat power by at least 100 to 20 billion. Thinking of this, Bupa couldn't wait to say, "Then what are you waiting for? Lazuli, Lapis, you're going to devour those two guys now according to number 21. Yes, it is good." With a promise, the Lazuli siblings nodded. After looking at each other, they stepped forward and grabbed future number 17 and number 18 on the ground. Immediately afterwards, the two of them no longer hesitated, and directly stretched out their hands and pierced their heads, grabbed the infinite energy furnace in their bodies and began to devour them. For a while, the chi of the Lazuli sisters and brothers began to soar rapidly. Although it was not a huge increase, it was also extremely stable. It's just that the Lazuli brothers and sisters stood motionless at the moment. Although their strength was increasing, they seemed to have no power to move. Seeing this, Bupa frowned slightly, and immediately asked, "Number 21, how long will it take them to devour them like this?" "About 3 hours." After a little calculation, number 21 looked at Bupa and replied, "Master Bupa, you can't favor one over another. You destroyed Super 13 before, which also prevented me from improving my strength. Now you have given the future number 17 and number 18 to Lazuli and Lapis, and I and number 16 can also improve." Saying that, number 21 looked pitiful. However, Bupa didn't buy it, and waved his hand indifferently and said, "This kind of thing is nothing." Number 16 has information about Dr. Jiro's creation of androids in his mind. "You can cultivate it yourself, and I need your help in making artificial Saiyan, and I don't care if you make some androids for yourself. Of course, the premise is that you are loyal to me. Otherwise, you will know the consequences." Hearing this, number 21's face froze. She's not an idiot either, so she couldn't hear what Bupa said. It was because of this that she was even more puzzled at the moment. Bupa's attitude towards them was almost equal before. Why after going out this time, Bupa's attitude towards the Lazuli siblings has obviously become more optimistic and recognized. At this moment, a scream resounded and broke the atmosphere in the arena. Looking at the sound, it can be seen that Son Goku in the form of Super Saiyan 2 in the distance was directly knocked to the ground. Just finished his Super Saiyan 2 transformation. Son Goku's power boost isn't too strong. He has not reached the limit of Super Saiyan 2 at all, which also makes him obviously not Broly's opponent. Kakarot. However, Broly at the moment did not stop there. With a roar in his mouth, Broly waved his hand, and a huge Kaio-Ken bullet was thrown towards Son Goku. "Kakarot." "Goku uncle." Seeing this, Vegeta and Trunks were both in a hurry. With Son Goku's current situation, it was impossible to resist the attacking Kaio-Ken bullet. Subconsciously, Vegeta and Trunks appeared in the area beside Son Goku, shouting, "Kakarot, let's shoot together." "Goku uncle, let's help you." Chapter 50 Super 2 Son Gohan, the Open Z Warrior. While talking, Vegeta and Trunks didn't hesitate and quickly transformed into Super Saiyan form. Immediately afterwards, the two mobilized all their strength, and gathered their hands together to burst into a drink. Final flash. Final flash. Ha! In the next second, two Ki blasts shot into the sky and collided with Broly's Ki blast. Rumbling. Rumbling. The explosions rang out, and the final flash of Vegeta and the Trunks could clearly be seen fading away. The power gap between the two sides is really too big. Under such circumstances, they have no chance of winning. Vegeta, Trunks. At this time, Son Goku stood up tremblingly and glanced at Vegeta and Trunks in the area in front of him. Immediately afterwards, Son Goku seemed to be reborn, and the whole person's breath was quietly violent at this moment, and his hands gathered together to drink loudly. Came card. The next second, a huge wave of Kamehameha soared into the sky, directly mixing the power of the final flash with Broly's Ki blast. For a time, the island shook. The aftermath of terror spreads, and the unexpected happens when the three of Son Goku join forces. Just a combination of 30 billion combat power and two more than 20 billion combat power. Their strength actually blocked Broly's blow. Although Broly did not go all out in this attack, it was an attack of more than 50 billion combat power. How could it be blocked like this? What? Before everyone could regain their senses, Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks' roars resounded again. The next second, you can see that the Ki blast they cast has strengthened again, and started to press Broly's Ki blast to retreat. What a protagonist to hang. I really can't fight against the Sun family. Taking a panoramic view of this scene, Bupa in the far area twitched the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were full of helplessness. I thought it was obvious that Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks were linked this time, but he never imagined that this was only part of their opening. This Ki blast ignores the gap of more than 20 billion combat power to have such a change, which is simply incredible. Broly, taking a deep breath, Bupa came back to his senses, raised his head and said, "Go all out for me to defeat them. Anyone can lose against Po, but definitely not to Son Goku." "Yes, sir." Hearing this, Broly woke up like a dream. Looking at Ki blast who kept approaching him, Broly also had a trace of anger in his eyes. Immediately afterwards, Broly suddenly mobilized his chi and raised his hand. "Give it to me." The next second, Broly's power followed, and Ki blast instantly expanded tenfold. Immediately afterwards, Broly's Ki blast began to suppress the power of the three of Son Goku and kept approaching the ground, aiming directly at the place where the three were. Very good. Seeing this, Bupa nodded in satisfaction. What about protagonist mode? You own the system, and you are the real protagonist. If this makes Son Goku and others turn over, what's the point of his own crossing? Thinking of this, Bupa's eyes continued to look at Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks. He is not sure if these three guys will continue to fight, but if the three of them can't continue to improve their combat power at this moment, they can't be Broly's opponents, and they may even be annihilated by the attack of that Ki blast. Growls resounded continuously. Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks frantically squeezed their own strength to strengthen Ki blast. However, the gap between their strength and Broly is too great, and no matter how hard they work, there is no possibility of any improvement. Seeing that Broly's Kaio-Ken bomb was getting closer and closer, and even about to affect the three of Son Goku, suddenly a loud shout came from a distance. "Dad!" Looking at the sound, a figure can be seen coming quickly. Almost instantly, Son Gohan appeared in the area next to Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks. With a low growl, Son Gohan's whole body throbbed with lightning and immediately transformed into Super Saiyan 2. In the next second, the 58 billion combat power in Son Gohan gushed out. Before everyone could recover, Son Gohan immediately put his hands together and exclaimed, Came card. In an instant, Kamehameha waves rose into the sky. The four forces mixed with each other, and then directly pushed Broly's Ki blast to retreat. In this case, Rao is Broly growling constantly and injecting his own strength, but he is obviously at a disadvantage under Ki blast's confrontation. FK. This Nima is too much. Seeing this, Bupa's mouth twitched, and his eyes were full of depression. The protagonist mode is too big. It's just that Son Goku turned into a Super 2. Why did Son Gohan also become a Super 2 during this time period? And it has reached such a point all at once. Even if it is time house cultivation, it is impossible to have such an effect. After all, in the original work, Son Gohan's Super 2 form has such combat power, but it has also been improved under Cell's tyranny again and again. But now what? As soon as he exited the level, it reached 58 billion combat power, which means that during the time Son Gohan was cultivating in the time house, the basic combat power has reached the level of 580 million. Combined with the combat power of only a few million when I saw him before, this terrifying increase was even more terrifying than Bupa's opening. At this moment, the low roars of the four Son Gohan resounded again. It can be seen that the four of them worked together, and the Kamehameha wave directly knocked Broly's ki blast into the air. Even with the power of the 4 people, they all attacked Broly's location, and this attack was full of killing intent. Once Broly is hit, even the super mode will be dead. It's really not listening. My brother, how can you bully? Seeing this, Bupa's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and he appeared beside Broly in a flash. Ha! With a low growl, Bupa turned into Super Saiyan directly, and more than 80 billion battle power emerged at this moment. Final flash. With a loud shout, Bupa didn't hesitate to launch the final flash to attack the Kamehameha wave. Rumbling, rumbling. The explosion resounded. Broly's ki blast exploded instantly, and finally the flash and Kamehameha wave collided in midair. It can be clearly seen that the Kamehameha wave was suppressed at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the 4 of Son Gohan, Son Goku, Vegeta and Trunks on the ground turned pale, obviously unable to hold on. Big brother. Seeing Bupa's move, Broly on the side with relief, turned his head and said gratefully, "Thank you eldest brother for helping. Otherwise if you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.